Sorry.
You're good.
Oh, okay, so we are live.
Hello.
Hello.
Just let me post a notification in the server. All right. So this is just a second. No, wait. I swear I've streamed before.
Let's not have a repeat of a certain Murder the Sonic the Hedgehog stream.
I won't be having an hour of technical issues.
Oh shoot, I should post. Also a
Wolf,
link.
Zen, and Ronan. And Ghost. Hey. Just in time. We're just about to get started on this.
I'm gonna share the link in Noms' server as well, specifically the Transformers channel.
Oh yeah. There's plenty of people who'd get a kick out of us ripping into this.
And I'm gonna post a link also. Wow, there's some thunder over there. Okay, I'm gonna post a link also in the chat. Cool, man. In our chat specifically. It will be relevant for this review. When it comes up,
Yeah.
we can pull it up. It's just a past IGN review. That's all. I'm, just to showcase their not exactly a very consistent website.
Yeah, it has actually been a while since I've seen this video, this review. Like I remember it being really
I
bad.
remember a couple of very key points, and I remember all the angry comments. But it's IGN, so it's yeah.
Yeah, I remember it
The only time I saw this was I watched a YouTuber react to it.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them. They've been like, so IGN is stupid, as usual. But I took personal offense to this, so here's my video.
Yeah, I was thinking like because I went to the video to get it to download it. So we're not watching it on YouTube. It's just
they don't need the views.
No, so since then I suddenly got a lot of recommendations on YouTube of this person reacting to the IGN review, this person reacting to the IGN review. And I'm like,
to be fair, there's a lot of really funny reactions. All of them are just like, okay, IGN, I know IGN, you can't spell ignorant without IGN. They're like, but did we watch the same movie?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that reaction when I watched it. I was just like, did you watch the movie at all?
Probably not.
Obviously, if you have not seen Transformers 1, maybe go watch Transformers 1 before you start watching us stream this.
Mm-hmm.
There will be spoilers in this react to this garbage review, because we all quite liked this movie.
Yeah.
Me especially, because I've seen it several times. It sent Janie here into an absolute Transformer spiral, and I think she's become even more obsessed with the franchise than any of us, which is funny because Coolman and I were specifically dragging everybody in because we're like, we need more people to see this movie. And then suddenly we're like, what have we done? We've created a monster. Janie's more obsessed with Transformers than any of us.
She's like, you watched like so many Transformers.
Way more than we have. She went down a rabbit hole and she's purchased so many like figurines, and I'm like, I mean, I pre-ordered an Alita 1 and an Optimus, and I'm waiting on those, but like she's just like, here's this space for this on this part of my shelf. Here's this, here's this, here's this. Also, I got you a keychain, Aaron. I'm like, oh,
yeah, we're not gonna
I play games. I started playing a bunch of Transformers games.
We're not going to talk about how many Transformers are currently on the shelf.
You do not choose the brain rot. The brain rot chooses you.
It's true.
Yeah.
Once you get a hyperfixation, it kind of grabs you by the soul, and then it drags you into a proverbial hell.
Is it really hell, though?
Well, I mean, a hell of your own making. In this case, yes, it would be. Ask Janie's wallet.
What's left of it anyway?
It's cool. I'm good. It's good.
She's like, I will not confirm or deny that this is a hell of my own making.
I try to find deals. Let's just say that.
She's clutching her Rodimus Prime, going, I can quit anytime I want.
Actually, it's my Transformers 1 Optimus right now.
That's who she's clinging. She's like, I love you, Orion Pax. I'm so sorry.
It's Suzanne, your niece wants to be Megatron for Halloween.
I mean, that's okay. That's valid.
Yeah.
I respect that.
I'll admit, there's one Family Guy joke, one of the few ones that actually make me laugh. And like somebody, I can't remember, one of Meg's friends called her Megan, and she's just like, but that's not my name. And her friend's like, then what's Meg short for? And then it cuts back to like when Lois gives birth to Meg and she hands Peter the birth certificate asking him to fill it out. And then he starts writing out, he crosses out Megan and writes Megatron. And then he's like, da-na-na-na-na. And I was just like, that got me. That actually got me. Whew. Alrighty.
Yeah. So, before we get started, why don't y'all hit the like button?
Smash that like
Smash
button.
that like button.
Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell.
Yeah. Join the memberships.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get started. It's not really a long review, but we're going to take a while.
Well, we might pause briefly because, like I said, I gotta go check on the workers downstairs.
Yeah.
The kitchen's getting remodeled, guys. Full on remodeling, and they were like, they didn't realize today was Memorial Day, so they still came and they were doing a whole lot of painting.
Oh.
And I hear the vacuuming has stopped. Sounds like they're cleaning up because they're also fixing. Well, not fixing. They're polishing up one of the doors. I don't know. They're doing a whole lot of stuff down there, but it's gotten quiet down there, so I know I need to check on there and just see if things are cool, or maybe they're just quickly eaten before they leave. I left them a pizza box down there for them. I thought, they've been working hard. They deserve something to eat.
True.
You shall hit the no, Wolf. We're unmodding you then.
Smash that dislike button.
Unsubscribe. Well, at least he's still sharing the video.
Traitor!
Shares at least in there, so at least he's still sharing. All right,
After
cool.
all we've been through. All right, let's get started in this abomination.
We could have built the future together.
I don't think so.
We're living in a renaissance for animated films based on toys and comics that manage to both dazzle and dig deeper. The Spider-Verse films and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem recently reinvigorated their respective heroes with both
No, you did
visual
not
and
just say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in that sentence. No.
Well, and it's stupid because it's just like he's trying to use that, be like, oh, it's a renaissance, except no one
For
cares about
toys
you.
and comics, and he's like, Spider-Verse and Ninja Turtles.
That's a renaissance.
That's a renaissance.
It's
He's like, Spider-Verse was a genuine success, sure. Mutant Mayhem, nobody talks about it anymore, really. I know it got a show, but again, hardly anybody talks about it. It's
Yeah.
just, and also, it's just an ugly-looking movie. It's so ugly.
Yeah, and it's so funny because he's trying to like really hop it up because it's like,
How do you do, fellows kids? I like IPs.
I like intellectual properties too.
Shut up, corporate stooge.
Well, and it's also funny because it's like the first Spider-Verse movie is decent. It's got a number of problems, but I feel like they cared because he's bringing this up because he's gonna talk about how Transformers 1 is not good like that, which is so funny because it's
which is so funny because, and granted, too, in his defense, he does show the first Spider-Verse really, and you could tell Spider-Verse was made by people who like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
For whatever like issues anybody could have with the Spider-Verse, like that first movie you could tell that's made by people who love Spider-Man. There's love put in there, and I genuinely appreciate it. And I had fun watching it with my nephews and seeing, like, because I like Spider-Man, so seeing them get into Spider-Man, watching it, and seeing their little happy faces, and then I could be like, "Here, kids, let me show you some Spider-Man toys. Like, here, kids, here's a Spider-Man cartoon that I used to watch," and like, and I can show it to them. So it's a nice little gateway to get them into a thing. So I think it's a good like starter for young kids, like to first foray into something. And then you put up Mutant Mayhem, and I'm like, no, like at least put the 2012 Ninja Turtle cartoon up.
Yeah.
That's at least a good starter. You're gonna put this? No, thank you. It's just current thing. Hey guys, current thing.
Yeah.
It's like you had us at the first half and then you blew it.
Yeah.
Well, and then it's just gonna get worse from here.
Yeah.
Narrative
Oh, this is just the
panache
beginning.
that was pitched at and landed with longtime fans and newcomers alike.
I
In
do
that
not
way,
know a single. I do not know a single lifelong Ninja Turtle fan that liked Mutant Mayhem. So it was like, oh, it dazzled fans for. No, it did not. It
No.
dazzled maybe some newcomers who came in at Rise of the Ninja Turtles, or this was their introduction. I do not know a lifelong fan who likes Mutant Mayhem. I
Well-
have not found a one.
Well, and I also think it's funny that they showed well, obviously he didn't make the video, but that they show a clip of Across the Spider-Verse when talking about older fans of them. Like, yeah, except that movie was incredibly contentious with like classic Spider-Man fans from the way it treated Miguel O'Hara.
It is, but like you could say that the Spider-Verse IP, it's a mixed bag, but there were longtime Spider-Man fans who do like it.
Yeah, the second
You cannot say that about Mutant Mayhem. And
Yeah.
now, and again, and as the caveat, as was already presented earlier by our lovely guests here, this is to present these things good, Transformers 1 bad. Your caveat is, fans of the IP loved this thing, and you're trying to claim that Transformers fans didn't like Transformers 1? They're the only people who went to show up. Longtime Transformers toy collectors and all that jazz, dragging their friends who've never gotten into Transformers, like, please see this movie.
Yeah, well, and especially with just how much Transformers 1 had to fight just to get any attention because the marketing was so bad.
Very bad.
It did shockingly well considering just how little it had to
like
work
they had a
with.
bad trailer and then they just pulled so much marketing. And it just had to rely solely on word of mouth just to get anything going. But
Shout out
hey,
to Transformers High Five.
I would say Transformers 1 is a great first introduction for newcomers as well, and old-time fans. I showed it to all my nieces and nephews, and they loved it, and they're now wanting to collect Transformers toys. Janie's, well, I think it speaks for itself. She's gotten more obsessed than any of us here. Julie, we are now getting her to watch Transformers Prime. So yes, I would say Transformers 1 is great for old fans and new fans. But go ahead, please try and cook for us, IGN.
Transformers 1, which has been in development since around the time the first Spider-Verse movie was announced, feels
That's not accurate. They were talking about it when the first Spider-Verse movie came out. That was when they were starting.
It was in brainstorming stages.
Yeah,
the movie kind of jumped through several ideas before they finally started production.
Yeah, because he's trying to like play it off as if this movie was in like development hell for like 8 years.
Maybe pre-production, if you can't even call it pre-production.
Well, because like especially after The Last Night was so bad and bombed so hard. That was
I know at one point this movie was pitched to be just like Bumblebee was at one point pitched to be like a prequel to the Bayformer movies, but things eventually changed in development. At one point they kind of wanted to do, what if we did a Cybertron, solely Cybertron pre-war era story? And it was originally going to be kind of like, because people loved that opening scene of Bumblebee, and then they were like, wait, if we're just going to do this movie that is solely on Cybertron with solely Transformers, no human characters, then it shouldn't be live action. It wouldn't be anyway. It would all be computer generated. So let's just make it an animated movie. But like this was like a long conversation since the first Spider-Verse where they just kept bouncing around, like pitching. Well, what if the movie was this? What if the movie was this? What if it was this? Then eventually they settled on an animated movie. And then it became, okay, then what's this animated movie? What's it going to look like? What's it going to be about? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, you can't spell ignorant without IGN.
No, you can't.
So,
but everybody in the chat, like, you all have an IGN horror story. There's going to always be that one IGN review. Every gamer has that one IGN review that they despise beyond like anything. Doesn't matter if they're a casual gamer. They'll just see something from IGN and they'll just be like, that opinion was garbage.
Too much water.
yeah.
Yes.
For me.
Janie, you're a Sonic fan.
Yes.
Sonic was never good.
Oh my god.
That was IGN.
There's.
Oh, yeah, and Ghost.
Oh my
God
gosh.
Hand. They gave it, like, what, a 3 out of 10? Because, like, they're stupid.
Oh, they're so beyond stupid. There's several.
Oh, the Last of Us 2 shilling was also, yeah.
There's several.
Late to the party and far less self-assured.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And here's the funny thing is Transformers 1 is one of the most self-assured movies I've ever seen. Like, ever. It knows exactly what it wants to do the entire time.
In fact, it's begging to let you know what it wants to do because it wants to do even more. It's like, but I don't know if we'll get to see any sequels. But that's neither here nor there.
Look up the wheels! I need wheels!
Taking a cue from the eye-poppingly stacked cast of 1986's The Transformers the Movie, which featured the voices of legends like Orson Welles, Leonard Nimoy, and Scatman.
So what? The only comparison you're making to the movie is there were some celebrity voice actors? That's your comparison?
Also, you only had one character match up with who was actually voiced by them, and then the rest is like the regular animated characters with the regular voice actors. Your visuals do not match up with what you're talking about, IGN.
Brothers, Transformers 1's robots are brought to life by high-profile talent like Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, Brian Tyree Henry, Keegan-Michael Key, John Hamm, Lawrence Fishburne, and Steve Buscemi. The obvious standout from that impressive roster is Henry's D16.
The only correct thing you said.
Yeah, really.
The only correct thing you said. This guy was incredible as D16/Megatron. Okay.
What does the 86 movie have to do with this? It was just that there were some celebrities.
There was some celebrity actors in a Transformers movie.
Yeah, that's it. That's the reason I was calling it out, because I'm like, there's no comparisons. The stories aren't even remotely comparable. It's literally, well, there were some celebrities, so that's basically the same as 86.
It's weird. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes, he is.
That also ignores the Bayformer films. Okay, granted, not all of them were voiced, but they had a lot of like live action celebrity actors in there.
Yeah.
If we're gonna go with the most bare bones, it has Transformers and celebrities. Okay.
The Transformers home planet of Cybertron pushes him down his dark path towards becoming the villainous Megatron. Henry's conviction and emotional vulnerability regularly steals scenes.
No, we'll go back in a minute. This ignores that there are several references to the 86 movie also in this film.
Yeah.
I don't want to go fully into all of it, but it's just like, this movie is jam-packed with so much love for the entire franchise, and it's just like, it's got celebrities. How about there's a recomposition, like the theme of the death of Optimus Prime in this movie, like recomposed with elements of like Transformers Prime and other songs and its own original track during the fall scene. That's one element from the 86 movie. Or the fact that when Transformers die, they lose all color. You see the corpses of the Primes and Sentinel Prime, they lose all color, just like the '86 movie. That's just okay. All right,
yeah,
I'm gonna stop turning into a nerd, but it's just like nerd rage.
Yeah, well, it's like in the Matrix of Leadership, and
Yeah,
which was introduced in '86, is a core plot device in this movie.
Well, even the way Lawrence Fishburne as Alpha Trion, the way he speaks to Orion Pax is very similar to the way Optimus speaks to Hot Rod, like before he becomes Rodimus Prime. It's quite a parallel, actually.
Yeah.
Erodian, you're assuming that this guy even knows what a quintesson is, even though Quintesson is.
Well, granted, the Quintessons look much different, which I do think the designs of this movie is pretty cool. But obviously, this guy doesn't know.
Yeah, the Quintessons were like just kind of like a subplot in the '86 movie, and they're actually kind of like really big deal in Transformers.
Also,
1.
Hot Rod was in the race. You see his name.
Yeah.
It's funny because I actually haven't seen the '86 movie, and I can spot so many things already. Just what I've absorbed about the '86 movie through osmosis and through Janie screaming about it to me in privately.
If anyone follows me on Tumblr, they'll know.
Represents.
But anyways, actually go back a couple scenes because I did talk over him a little bit.
Villainous Megatron. Henry's conviction and emotional vulnerability regularly steals scenes and frequently represents the only real humanity Transformers 1 has to offer, which...
That's wrong. That's so wrong.
Wrong. Oh, wow, that is just cosmically wrong.
Dumb.
Oh, wow.
Humanity Transformers 1 has to offer, which, for the record, is even more important when there are no actual humans around.
Okay, no. We got to unpack all of that sentence. No.
I don't know who wrote this script, but they were so wrong.
No humanity? No humanity.
Because
really?
there's no humans.
No, okay, no, but like as in like no human emotion, like, you know, the things that tug at your heartstrings. It's only D16's performance that have scenes that tug. Well, first of all of D16's scenes are predicated on you caring about him and Orion's relationship, which means you have to care about Orion.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? There's so many scenes where we just see him like so like distraught and sad because he realizes he's losing his friend. Like, ugh. And like, and what about like the fall scene where you see like Alita like screaming, even though you can't hear her voice as Bumblebee's trying to hold her back. She's trying to reach for Orion as he's falling down to the pits of. What do you mean? What do you mean? Several characters have emotional moments. What are you talking about? And like, and are we claiming that the only reason we can feel any genuine emotion is only if human characters are around? I'm not an anti-human person of the Transformer fandom like some people are, but that's just patently false.
It was like that one moment where Orion goes back to the mines and rallies the miners. That was really emotional to me.
Yeah, that's a great scene. But like, okay. Has this guy even seen Beast Wars?
Doubtful.
I highly doubt it.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't some people criticize the Bayformers movies for being too focused on the humans?
That is one of the most common criticisms people had, but I understand it because of the technology used to make the special effects for the Transformers specifically was so advanced. Like, if you look at any of the scenes to this day, specifically the first three, not the latter two, because the CGI obviously cheaped out by then. You'll notice how intricate and how amazing it still looks to this day, how real they all look. And the sacrifice, sadly, is that their screen time is diminished, other than mostly for the main important scenes and the fight scenes and stuff like that, like when it mattered the most. Because of it would be too expensive. Now, the reverse happens in Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast, and where the human characters aren't as like, there's still plenty of emotional beats and screen time, but the CGI is not nearly as impressive as the first three. So like it's good enough. It's good enough. But it's like, it's one of those catch-22s. Do you want them to look like genuinely, like they're really there, like these humans are really touching these characters, and there's really like them stomping around and destroying the city? Or do you want more of these characters, which obviously for Transformers fan, they want more of the Transformers. They just do. It never bothered me, but I totally understand the complaint. Like it's understandable. And so him saying this, yes, it is very out of touch with Transformers fans. Because you, Julie, pointing that out, by the way, when you have not even watched any of those movies, Transformers 1 is your first experience. It shows you're more in tune than this guy. A self-proclaimed, I'm an...
It's like, hello, fellow children. I am IP enjoyer too.
Go away, Shu.
Be gone, you alien lizard person pretending to be a human.
Doesn't do D16's arc many favors, with his nuanced feelings about Cybertron's storied defender Sentinel Prime, played by John Hamm, completely flattened out by a plot that's too busy juggling a fetch quest and a razor-thin political conspiracy to reliably keep that narrative train.
Okay. There's so much wrong. There is so much wrong. It's barely even a fetch quest. They get to the Tomb of the Primes, and then it's like, the thing's not here. We need to go tell the truth. The fetch quest is like only like maybe like 20 minutes of, no, not even that, 10 minutes of the movie. It's up until they get to the tomb. Because before that, it was like, oh, hey, say, we found this beacon. It could lead us to where the Matrix is, because of this is a hope, like a distress beacon from Alpha Trion. Maybe we could find the Matrix there, possibly. That's like, we were already into a third of the movie by the time that they get this distress beacon message. So how can you even say that it's distracted by a fetch quest? Like, I'm surprised he's not even talking about like, oh, the race distracting things, even though that's tied into the political themes of the movie. The whole political theme is this whole case system. Like, also, we got a super chat.
Oh, thank you, Connor. All right.
I get it.
Don't you want to stop IGN? No, I don't. I want.
You can say it.
Yeah, I want to kill him. I want to string IGN, bring him out, and then kill him.
I think the YouTube thing is like, even if it does censor, I think we're far enough into like your stream that you should be okay to be able to say kill.
All right. But yeah, like that's the stupid thing where it's like, oh, it doesn't really do his arc any favors. I'm like, yes, but his arc is the part of the core of the movie. Orion and D16's character arcs are the core from the beginning to end.
Well, it's all, everything circles back to these two and how their opinions are ultimately going to come at a crossroads on how to deal with all the corruption in Cybertron, like how it has been for a while in Transformers lore. A lot of the comics and they started like, it didn't used to be that way. But over time, ever since they started changing the lore to where Megatron and Optimus used to be friends back in the day.
Well, yeah, and it suddenly became really interesting that like, and I like it because there's several different versions of them, whether Optimus was a factory worker or a clerk or a librarian or an aide to the Primes or any one of those, and then Megatron typically was like a warrior or a gladiator or something like that. But then I like,
well, and he's also like been like he is here, a miner. They've had like Optimus is that too. Like they've gone through several different incarnations.
Yeah, and I like how Transformers 1 takes them and gives them the exact same starting point, because now the way they go on the same journey, So their diverging paths all come down to how they reacted to the same events.
Well, even how they internalize this case system that they are both oppressed by, how they react to it. Orion keeps feeling like something's wrong, something's amiss, something's not right.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's not wanting to openly rebel, but he just feels like maybe if we just find the Matrix, everything will just sort itself out. Like, he's not looking to lead a revolution, but he senses somewhere deep down in his, well, I can't say bones, circuits, something's just off.
Yeah.
Something's not quite right. And he's just trying to find a way. And yes, he gets them into trouble, but he keeps trying to find a way to maybe, like, if we could just do this one thing, everything will sort itself out. Because he's still naive about, like, this oppressive system that they're living in too. But he just can sense something is wrong. D is the opposite. He is keep your head down and keep going along with it because he feels the system's justified, which immediately already tells you the mindset of these two people, which is going to lead them to becoming Optimus Prime and Megatron. Megatron feels that oppressive authority is correct. It just depends on who wields that power.
Yeah.
Whereas Optimus is different. He wants, well, freedom for the right of all sentient beings.
Yeah. And thank you, Charlie, for your $2 super chat. Oh, I can't believe Redacted was behind this too.
He is. IGN is redacted.
I understood that reference.
But yeah, like, to say the political themes are half-baked shows me how unintelligent, quite frankly, you are. I'm sorry how mean that is, but you have the emotional intelligence of a child. No, that's insulting to children because my nieces and nephews quite loved this movie.
Yeah.
You have the emotional intelligence of a brick.
Yeah.
Because there is quite a lot of emotional core and universal themes that it doesn't matter, like, who you are, where you come from. There's something that anybody can resonate with in this story. And I think it's quite nice. But I digress.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get back to this train wreck.
On the track. All that Cybertron lore and backstory can be interesting at times, but none of it is covered with enough depth or novelty to feel fresh.
Oh my gosh. You have to know the franchise. You have to know the franchise.
Well,
Julie, no, stop. Everybody stop. Because Tim, you and I vaguely knew a lot more than these two did at first going into this movie. Because if we've dabbled a bit into Transformers, because if we've seen the Bayformers and then we dabbled a little bit after that and played video games and stuff like that. Janie and Julie, this was your first foray into Transformers, really, like really getting into it. Did you feel what he just said?
Not at all.
Julie?
Not at all.
Oh.
Sorry.
No.
Is my mic off? Sorry.
No, you're okay.
I didn't feel that way at all. Like, I also felt like they introduced the lore and explanations at a good pace, so it doesn't feel like a lore dump to me. So yeah, he's being stupid.
But do you feel it lacked depth?
No.
Lies.
Like, if anything, it made me want to learn the lore more.
Yes, this movie, it lit a fire under me. Because I was like, I knew Transformers had a lot of cool lore because I dabbled into, like I played games after I watched the Bayformers and stuff like that. I watched only a little bit of animated and a little bit of Armada back in the day. That was my first real experience with Transformers, but I never quite delved into the lore until the Bayformers. Then I started watching it. Then I wanted to I started reading a couple of comics, and I played mostly video games, like a couple of the video games. And recently I've been playing a lot more video games for the Transformer series, and it's like there's a lot of really cool stuff in here, but this movie lit a fire to me because I'm like, I really want to start watching more of these shows and reading more stuff because it seems like there's a lot of cool stuff in here. There's enough rich lore in here that you could jam pack into Lord of the Rings equivalent for these just toy robots.
Well, yeah, and
40 years.
Yeah, and the thing is I was vaguely aware of this idea, but it became something more obvious as I learned more about Transformers is that the period of time that Transformers 1 covers has never been covered in a proper series. They touch on it in flashbacks. A lot of series will have a quick flashback, or they'll talk about the era before the war. But a lot of times we've never gotten a full like movie or any series that covered just this. This is about the formation of the Autobots and the Decepticons, and
even then we don't even see that formation happen until the very end of the movie. We see the inklings of what the factions will become, of like who will start recruiting who, but they actually don't name drop Autobots and Decepticons until literally the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is all their prehistory. We got so many super chats today.
Yes, wow. You guys are going wild today.
Transformers lit a fire into everybody.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Charlie, for the $5. It says, when the first Michael Bay Transformers movie came out, there was an awesome PS2 game that came out for it. My brothers and I loved it.
Yes, I played the Wii version of it. That was my first Transformers game experience. I remember playing the crap out of that when that first came out. I destroyed a lot of cars as a Decepticon. It was fun.
Yeah. Back in the age of good old licensed tie-in games.
I know they still make them, but they're not like they need more. You know what? Okay, Hasbro, I'm begging you, if we can't get a movie, give us a Transformers 1 sequel in forms of video games.
Yeah. Thank you, Connor, for the $5 super chat. I want to put IGN in chains and march them through the internet so everyone can see them as the false journos they are.
I mean, they are false journos, that's true.
Yeah. Well, yeah, here's the thing, right? The comics, a lot of times they cover the war. They still, like, as far as I'm aware, there hasn't been a series dedicated.
He means specifically, like, not scenes, not flashbacks, not even a whole chapter. Like, say, for a comic book. He means, like, full on an entire, like, comic series dedicated to specifically this time period. And to my knowledge, I haven't seen, like, a whole, like, maybe bits and pieces. Now, granted, again, I could be wrong. This is a 40-year-old franchise, but Cool Man more means specifically in this type of format, like in a TV show or a movie or a video game. The closest we've gotten was War for Cybertron and Fall for Cybertron, but that was during the war. Hey, Ghost! No, I did not say that. I said no. Mobile games aren't real games. I said a video game.
Yeah, wasn't Devastation 2015?
I believe so.
That was 10 years ago.
Well, like, they need to get off their butt and renew licenses for those games. And they need to make a proper sequel to Fall of Cybertron. And then they need to make a proper sequel to Devastation. And then also some Transformers 1 games.
Yeah. Well,
the same.
Well, Charlie, it's less of the timeline being wacky and the fact that there are 5 million alternate continuities, because every time
just like regular comic books.
Yeah, it's like every time when they have a new comic series, it typically it's its own thing. So they launch a new story and it's like this is separate continuity from all the other ones. Every time they have a new show, it's its own continuity. Anytime they have this new movie, it's its own continuity, and it's like
or they'll have novelizations.
Yeah.
The movie tie-in novelizations for the Bayformer ones actually.
We don't talk about Rise of the Dark Spark.
No, I said a sequel. That doesn't exist. What are you talking about? There's no such thing as Rise of the Dark Spark.
No, we never got a third game.
Yeah, we never got a third game. Heresy. You speak heresy, Ghost.
Transformers 1 is designed to be accessible to audiences with all levels of familiarity with the robots in disguise, but for anyone who paid attention to Michael Bay's first 3 live-action Transformers films, and Bay is a producer here, you'll note, the movie throws warning flags by choosing MacGuffins that render almost every turn of the story a foregone conclusion.
It's a prequel.
Well, yeah, we know Orion is going to become Optus.
It's a prequel. What do you mean? It's a foregone conclusion. That's the point. The point
It's
is,
like
how
complaining
are
that
these two going to
Anakin
end up
became-
on opposite sides? You're waiting for them to become Optimus, but that's the point. You're waiting for that.
What's the point of a prequel if we don't expect it?
Well, and that's the thing, is this is the exact kind of thing that a prequel should be doing. It's telling a story that we have heard about. We know that like something happened that made Optimus become Optimus and Megatron become Megatron, and this is showing that story done in a way that incorporates a lot of various elements of the different continuities, but strictly does its own thing while still remaining in what you would have expected. We know the major beats. The interesting thing is, how are we going to get there? Which is what the movie is about. Well, D to the B. I don't think he thinks it is. I think he's just saying that if you've seen this, then you're just like, oh, well, I know that Optimus and Megatron are going to be a thing, so there's nothing to see in a prequel. I think that's his point.
That's the point of a prequel. Hey, remember that link I posted, by the way, in our private chat?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share that, cool man? Just so I can highlight IGN's inconsistency.
Yeah, just a second.
Halo Reach, a prequel.
Literally,
Amazing.
all around a foregone conclusion. In fact, the game starts by going, yeah, everything's going toast. It's all going tits up. Like you ain't walking out of this alive. We're literally showing Noble Six's helmet in the dust. And then that's how it starts. The entire game is a foregone conclusion. The tagline for the game was, from the beginning, you know the end. So it's like, yes, Reach is good, and I do believe it deserves the accolades, but you can't sit here and give Reach points for something you're literally ripping into Transformers 1 for.
It's just... what do you expect from a prequel?
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth's Orion.
Oh, wait. Sorry. But yeah.
On conclusion, Chris Hemsworth's Orion Pax begins the story quite far from the Optimus Prime we know he'll become, with little direction or motivation to get him there.
Little direction and motivation. Oh my gosh.
I think
did you sleep while the movie started playing?
He's the one who's driving the plot. It's literally, he is the most proactive character in the entire thing. He's always talking about wanting to do more, about wanting to help.
The big crash out scene for D16, he immediately snaps at Orion, because if he's just blaming him for basically dragging him constantly into mess after mess, and that's why they're now in this predicament, because now he knows the truth that he never wanted to learn, all because of Orion keeps dragging him into all these other his little plans that he keeps, and all these I'm gonna crash out.
She's gonna pull a D16, guys.
IGN deserves it.
Even though his journey from Robo Miner to Robo Messiah doesn't feel all that well drawn.
Oh my gosh, I hate this. I hate this.
This is why I wanted us to do this, because I remember it being really stupid. And a lot of people, when they go over it, they go over some making points, and I'm like, no, you need to unpack this whole enchilada. It's bad. It's a bad review.
Yeah, literally, he wants to find the matrix of leadership. It's literally the opening scene of the movie is establishing his motivations and establishing him willing to do things that are against the rules in order to accomplish his goals. The point of his development over the course of the movie is him learning to make wiser decisions.
He's very reckless.
Yeah, but it has, as Alita says when she's trying to give her pep talk to him, he's just like, yeah, it's like, you make bold, courageous decisions that people will follow, because
he's inspiring, as she says. She said it, she delivered it clumsily, because of, as the narrative points out, that this is not Alita's thing. She can't be a leader like Orion. But she recognizes that he's kind of melted her very hard exterior, and she's now like wants to be a little bit more softer like him. She's bad at it, but she wants to be because if he inspired her.
Yeah. It's like this is such a very simple movie to understand.
Children can understand it.
I'm having flashbacks of people who complain about the Phantom Menace. They're like, it's so complicated, all these politics, and then literal 7-year-olds are understanding the movie just fine.
Well, he complained about the politics.
Yeah.
In spite of some nice spacey exposition from Lawrence Fishburne's Alpha Trion, Hemsworth does do good work evolving his performance over the course of the 104-minute runtime to account for the gravitas.
But I thought the 16 actor was the only standout.
Ah. He can't actually deny it, but he's going to pretend that's not the case.
Already
Actors did okay.
Quite contradictive.
And responsibility that come with his growing status. Starting off as a powerless Energon miner, Orion Pax's good nature does make his ascension to prime status somewhat gratifying, and more so as the big...
Somewhat gratifying?
Oh my god.
You know, that's a little bit of an understatement, but sure.
Somewhat gratifying.
There's so many people who react to this movie, and a lot of them get so excited whenever he says, "We roll out." Like, they're all like, yeah! Or the scene when he's talking to, like, the miners, they're all like, oh, yay! And whenever they see him, like, jumping out after getting the Matrix, they, like, they rip-roar and get all excited. Even people who've never experienced Transformers, they're like, I vaguely know who Optimus is. So to see Orion become Optimus, like, even all of them are like, oh, yay! He's becoming the dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, correct, newbie. He is becoming the dude. But, like, even that little, like that young 19-something who'd never watched Transformers anything, like, understands the core, like, theme of seeing what D is becoming and what Orion is becoming. One is becoming a monster. The other is becoming a hero.
Yeah, it's
pretty straightforward. It's got complexities, but it's straightforward.
The battle approaches.
It's time to show him we are more than meets the eye. Oh, no.
It may not surprise you to hear that transformation is a major theme here, but it's something that Transformers 1 communicates by telling us, not showing us or making us feel it.
What do you mean? There's so much.
You literally show a scene that is literally showing.
I think he means their character arcs.
What?
I think he means the movie's telling us they're becoming Orion and Optimus and Alita and Bumblebee, and not showing you, which I'm like, well, that's just wrong.
We see it so clearly. No one has to tell us anything.
Oh boy.
God, well, and it's like, and I know we were talking about this before. How
no, Charlie. No, Charlie. Megatron was wrong, actually.
No. Genocide is wrong, actually.
Banned. Squirt. Hitting you with the spray bottle. Bad, Charlie. No trolling.
But it's the thing is like, yes, Orion and D's arcs are very clear, but Alita and B also go on their own arcs.
They're very subtle, and you could argue theirs is a little bit undercooked in comparison to Orion and D, but it's like, well, yeah, because the story is mostly about those two. Alita and B are just supporting characters.
Yeah, but it's like there is a noticeable the Alita from the beginning of the movie would not have made the pep talk at the beginning of the third act, like that. She just wouldn't. She wouldn't have even tried.
As Connor points out, film is a visual medium, so everything is being shown.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But it's just...
What the hell did you just say?
But yeah, to your point, yeah, it is subtle. Specifically with Alita, she is starting to slowly become a little bit softer, and she's becoming like Orion's #1 support guy, like by the final act of the movie, when originally the Alita by the final act of the movie would not be that same Alita. She did not trust a single bit of Orion, saw him as nothing but a troublemaker, and ruined her life, and she was very harsh on him. Some understandable reasons, some a little bit too embittered, but like if ironically, she takes the opposite approach of Dee, because she's almost kind of similar to him in the way she's just working her way up and just kind of accepting things as they are. But once the truth is revealed to her, her stance changes. She does want everybody to know the truth, and she becomes Orion's number one support because she recognizes, okay, Orion might be a bit unorthodox, but he is the one that has got them to find out the truth, or else she would forever be stuck in this system. She recognizes this. She respects him after everything she's seen him do. And that's why she willingly supports him, to the point of, it's something I pointed out to these three after watching the movie again, and then I highlighted a couple of key frames. After Orion falls down into the depths of Primus, and you see Alita reaching for him, and Bumblebee's the one holding her back, because that's the other thing. Bumblebee is the comic relief character, because he was always the kid appeal character ever since the 80s. But we actually see, when things get serious, he does stop joking. He won't crack jokes when a scene is serious. And whenever Dee goes on his little rampage, Alita's the first one to jump up there to try to stop him. But the thing I noticed is she's trying to continue what Orion was doing before he got a giant hole blown inside him and then dropped into the pits of Primus. She was trying to, reason with him. She grabs his arm the same way Orion did, and she's telling Dee to stop what he's doing. And she's not there to fight. And he's of course, beating on her down. And then Bumblebee comes to her rescue to try to help her. And he's the one who brings his blades out to try and help, defend her. So he's actually getting a little bit of a backbone. And it's their arcs are very subtle in comparison to Orion and Dee's, but they are there. It's just, you just have to actually look for it. It's almost like it's being shown and it's not being deliberately told to you.
I'm imagining that this guy is in that one episode of SpongeBob when they're trying to cure the I forgot the Mermaid Man villain, and they end up with the Orb of Confusion. They turn it on and they're like, that's what I imagine this guy's like when he was watching the movie.
Okay, I think they're gone from the kitchen, so I'm gonna go downstairs and inspect some stuff briefly, and then also I'm hungry, so I'm gonna grab a quick little bit of food. So I don't know, you guys chat with the chat, and maybe Janie, tell everybody about your Transformers collection and what you watched, or Julie, you can tell everybody how far you've watched in Transformers Prime, and Tim and Janie obviously bounce off of what I don't think was Charlie a mod. Because I know he's an anomalies, because somebody was saying that was Charlie demodded. Well, I don't think he was ever demodded.
No, I don't remember you being.
I know he's a member, but I digress. Anyways, Phoenix is also whining because a thunderstorm's starting to roll in, so I'm gonna take care of him. Yeah. I'll be back. So I don't know, Julie, if you want to talk about Transformers Prime and you guys bounce off her. Obviously, nobody spoiled Transformers Prime. Julie just started getting into Transformers Prime. Janie, if you want to talk about your Transformers collection, go for it. I will be right back.
Charlie, you are on this council, but I do not grant you the rank of mod. Is it your drunken energon? Given that it's basically like Sprite, I hope not.
I love
no, dark energon goes. Yes, it's dark energon.
The dark energon.
Yeah. They tell us, ignore the part where they literally show the Transformer's body that allows them to transform. That doesn't count.
I like what Wolf says here. Spoiler alert, Transformers has a Prime.
What? Prime. Gosh, after watching Transformers Prime, I can't help but hear that that Frank Welker without the voice modulator, well, he's just like Prime.
Frank did so well in that series. It's so different from his G1 Megatron.
But that's my favorite Megatron voice. Unironically, yeah. his Transformers Prime voice, or he's just this dark and sinister. But then he sounds so compelling. And you're just like, yeah, I can see why people follow him.
He just sounds so
yeah.
menacing.
Oh yeah, no, that's not a voice modulator. Frank can just do that. I forgot. My bad.
That's the power of Frank Welker
That's the power of Scooby Doo
and Fred Jones.
and Fred Jones.
It is kind of crazy that they share a voice actor, though.
Oh yeah.
Listen,
Well,
Frank is a legend.
It's genuinely insane, and like he's just been doing Fred since the '60s. He's just Fred.
I remember reading that like they wanted, because like this is during Zombie Island, he hadn't voiced him in a long time, and so he had to re-audition, and they realized, oh, your voice literally hasn't changed. Okay, you can keep Fred.
He's just that good.
Yeah, and it's funny because you hear him, and he kind of talks like an old man when he's like, "Oh, talking," but then he just immediately can go into the voices, just effortlessly, and it's just like, "Oh wow, you can just say this voice that you've been using for the last 60 years. You just do it effortlessly."
I love the Peter Cullen and Frank Welker interviews because they'll just be doing like animal voices during the panel, and they're just all like, "Oh, sorry, we're making a farm."
Yeah.
Yeah, Frank is Soundwave.
Yeah.
He does use a vocoder in G1. So, but you do hear he does it in one point in a panel do Soundwave's voice without it, and it does sound a little bit like it. It just doesn't have that
That voice
what's the word I'm
modulation.
looking for? Yeah, that processed
The
kind of voice.
computerized voice.
Yeah, computerized. That's it.
yeah, that one gag video they did where he freaks out about the ascot. He's like, but yes, that's just Megatron. It's just always like that meme of where it's like, oh, what's Fred's? Fred doesn't have a catchphrase. Be like, yes, it's Decepticons, follow me.
Evil through tyranny.
yeah, the Dr. Claw voice when he's not got the synth on. Wait, what was he? What was
he was Dr. Claw? Yes, he was Dr. Claw. I remember that now because someone's just like, "Oh, he sounds like Dr. Claw," and I looked it up. I'm like, "Holy crap, he's Dr. Claw."
He's a freaking legend. We're going to have to kill this guy, Fred Jones. Oh darn. yeah. Oh darn it. Yeah, we literally did the same thing. I'll get you next time, Prime.
And your little Bumblebee too.
I just imagine he's got what's Shockwave's like the animal robot he has?
You mean Soundwave?
Yeah, Soundwave, yeah.
He's got Ravage, Buzzsaw, and Laserbeak.
He's got the Dr. Claw, the cat.
Yeah, Ravage.
He's got Ravage. I'll get you next time,
also
Prime.
played Ravage. Yeah, Rumble and Frenzy, they're like the little robot dudes. They have they make earthquakes.
Yeah.
And then he's got another cat named Howlback. It's blue.
He's got all
if
sorts
you can't tell, I'm kind of into this franchise.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I had no idea.
Yeah, you wouldn't tell for me. I'm pretty chill about it.
I mean, the fact that you've got an Alita icon for your...
Yeah, that's a coincidence.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with your crippling obsession with Transformers.
Oh yeah, Ratbat. I forgot about Ratbat.
I like how like a lot of these writers are like, I want to give him more little
so
robots.
Funny. The first time Ratbat appears in the G1 cartoon, he makes the most ungodly scream, and I'm just like, Frank, that's not how a bat sounds. That was such a wild episode too. Robot evil single dad.
Evil robot single dad.
Yes, all of the cassettes are Soundwave's children. It is law.
Honestly, Soundwave would have little minis. He'd have like a million of them.
Yeah, the Autobots have Blaster, and he has cassettes also, but they're not as well known, or at least they're not well known to me.
Yeah, he's not used as much in all. It's funny because G1 had like 5 million characters, and they just keep rotating through them with every episode.
Yeah,
it's like all the other ones are like, okay, we're gonna pick like a few, and then we're just gonna focus on them.
Yeah, season 2 they introduced a whole lot more, and I'm just like, they were not here in season 1. Why are you acting like they've been here forever? Now who's that one again?
Yeah, you can't gaslight me.
And they would say their names every 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, got it.
Yeah, those are blasters. Like honestly, they need Blaster as his like nemesis in the Autobot faction. That needs to be a thing.
It technically is. They just don't do like Blaster hasn't really been any other media other than the comics. Was he in the video games?
I don't remember him in the Cybertron duology.
Yeah, I know he's mostly prominent in the comics after G1.
Oh yeah, so that was really a thing from the '86 movie.
Yeah, Blaster was just a stereo, and then you watch the '86 movie after season 2, and he just starts ejecting these little guys, and I'm over here like, you couldn't do that before.
The '86 movie really changed. Like, even though there were like issues with like killing off characters so that they could rotate out the stock of the new Transformers, it's like it really changed a lot of like the lore and the characters, and it looks up that it stuck around to this day.
Yeah, I have some issues with the '86 movie, but they're all like personal issues. But I mean, when you look at it, it's just like, oh, this defined a lot of the future continuity. Like, The Matrix was never shown until the movie, and like, what am I trying to say? I can't talk this evening. But like passing on the torch and everything, like previous primes, that wasn't introduced until technically the beginning of season 3, but like the idea of it is talked about in the movie.
Yeah, that's something I did notice when I was watching G1, where it's just like, it's like there's a bunch of them on the ship that crashes on Earth, and then just a whole bunch come out, and then like every episode there's someone new who is, you're told, has been there the entire time, and you're like, you are never in a previous episode, and then they'll disappear for 20 episodes and then come back.
And it's like a lot of the season 2 bots, since you don't see them die in the movie, but they don't come back for season 3, and you're just kind of like, well, they're still alive. It was not confirmed. They are still alive. They're
I know
somewhere else.
Yeah, that's the funniest thing when people are like, a lot of the G1 like Transformers that didn't explicitly die, they're like, well, they didn't show them dying, so I'm just gonna say they're alive. Oh yeah, and Unicron.
How can I forget Unicron? He's like the main bad guy.
Yeah,
with his chomp chomp sound effects and his floating head in Cybertron's orbit. Yes, the movie that traumatized many little children everywhere, and many angry soccer moms wrote to Hasbro demanding Optimus Prime come back because their children are sad.
And then Hasbro was like, wait a minute, the kids actually care. I'm like, yes, that was the entire point of the show. You made them care about the character, so then they bought the toys. It's what everyone did. It's what G.I. Joe did. It's what He-Man did. Like, did you just not
killed their father figure? How could you?
It reminded the George Takei. You are made of stupid. Yeah. Oh, G1 is so wacky and funny. I can't wait to see the movie. Drama.
I remember my running gag whenever I was watching G1. It's just like, this is goofy, fun robot time. And then I watched the movie. I'm like, it's not goofy, fun robot time anymore. It's just pain.
It's literally that meme of the Vietnam soldier with the 1,000-yard stare. That's all the kids after they watch the 86 movie. They got PTSD, post-Transformers stress disorder. Yeah, I know. I think it's funny. It's like Orson Welles is like a very famous actor who did a lot of like radio stuff, and he's like, yeah, but he doesn't care. But it doesn't matter. He still has an amazing voice.
Listen, he rocked as Unicron. Like, he had so much apathy for this movie, and this was the last movie he did before he died, but he killed it.
Well, yeah. Speaking of killed, it's like, oh yeah, they're just gonna kill everyone. And I'm sure there was someone on the studio. They were like, we can't just kill everyone.
Yeah, someone in Toei is just kind of like, guys, maybe we should tone it down a little bit.
Just a little.
But no, man, seeing it was proud, the light leave his eyes, and I'm over here like, oh no, this is gonna hurt me. I wasn't so attached to you, Prowl, but now I
am. Okay. I have food.
Hey. All right.
So I might mute occasionally so I can take a bite.
Okay.
Or because I'm screaming, either one of the two.
All right, let's get back into this.
Still, it does successfully build out the relationship between Orion Pax and the friend he calls D. Mining the fuel that drives life on Cybertron is dangerous work, and an early near disaster sets up the close bond between D16 and Orion Pax. D is all about following the rules, Orion is a lot more loose, and the ways that those
No, the incident didn't set up their friendship. It was literally D's first scene when like they're running away from the guards, or when Orion is running away from the guards, and like D helps.
I'm telling you, this guy half slept through this movie.
Yeah, he was looking at his phone the entire time.
Like there are so many scenes that set him up for turning against Orion.
Yeah, there was definitely that.
Yeah.
And the more you watch the movie, the more you actually catch the little red flags they drop. Because some people say his turn was pretty quick, which some of it is quick, but it's like, yeah, because if he's having a major crash out moment. But once you watch the movie again, you'll actually catch all the it's very subtle build up to the fact that this guy is a ticking time bomb. And once the truth is, well, dropped on him, that bomb is starting to set off. And then he's just spiraling after that. And it's not like Orion had a lot of time to sit down and talk with him, just be like, hey, yo, man, are you okay? Let's calm down a minute and talk about this. There's way too much going on. There was no sitting to stop his friend to talk him down. And by the time he finally was trying to talk him down, it was too late. Like, that was the point.
Yeah.
Complement, then clash with each other, produce some good tension here and there.
Allow me.
Keegan-Michael Key's B-127.
There's like a dozen
better. That was a joke. That was a joke.
Literally, the scene after that has them with tension. And he's like, I shouldn't have done that.
Like, I get it if you're trying to dodge Paramount copyright stuff because of, so I'm only going to use trailer footage, obviously, because that's also probably what you only have access to. But like, they literally show parts of in the trailer where they're about to fight at the final scene of the movie. You showed that at the start of the review. You could use that for an example of tension. Whatever.
Be as
I'm
we
gonna
know
go back
him,
to
and
eating.
Badassatron as you will definitely not call him, even though he really wants it.
Oh my gosh,
That's the
Screw
joke.
you.
That's the joke. That's
we
the
love
that's the joke. That's the joke. He's cringe.
That's it. That's the joke.
Like, the joke
What?
is that Bumblebee is being cringe, and everybody's telling him that's a lame nickname. And the whole point is the joke is building up to the point where he like actually gets a moment where it's legit. He can call himself that because he has a moment where he's actually being cool. Like, that's the payoff.
Yeah, and there are 3
It's
scenes.
called setup and payoff.
He doesn't
Yeah,
even say
literally.
all that much.
Yeah, it
It's
literally.
only 3 times. It's literally
three-
only 3 times.
Yeah, it literally follows the rule of 3. It's structured as a joke. It sets it up. You're like, then he reinforces it with Alita.
It's first. He says it first to those 2. They tell. They kind of like.
I don't know.
He does it in front of Alita, and Alita's just like, I need you to shut up now.
Yeah, and then at the end when he gets his upgrades, then he's
And he
just
has
like,
this little
yeah.
cool, awesome knife hands moment, and he gets to be cool, and then that's when he shouts the name in almost a Dr. Claw-esque voice. I almost wonder if he's trying to imitate Frank Welker as he shouts the name. And that's the moment where it's like, okay, the jokey's earned it. Like, watch so many people's reaction to the movie. Everyone's clapping their hands. They're like, okay, you earned it this time, B. They're like, you've earned it. They're like yeah, it's a joke. But the point is, it's just like, it's a self-made title. Kind of like, Star-Lord calls himself Star-Lord. And so people are just, who? And then by the end of the movie, somebody finally calls him Star-Lord, and he kind of has that little yes moment. But it's like, it's a joke, but it's also, I also earned this title. It's very basic.
No, I don't think this android understands humor.
Is he an android? That feels like an insult to androids. Maybe he's a lizard person.
Yeah, he's one of the lizard person globalists.
Oh, wow, there's 15 of you in the chat.
Oh, wow. I think that's more than we've had before.
The last time was when we did our Game Awards stream, I think, is when we had that many people here. Thanks, guys, for coming.
Yeah.
We're all coming together to dunk on IGN.
Yes.
We're a simple, humble little corner of the Cool Man 229 corner of the internet, all right?
Yeah.
I said corner twice. I can't talk. I should just go back to eating.
All right.
Badassatron.
Does score a few laughs with his stir-crazy enthusiasm for his new gang, but B's usefulness to the story is spent immediately, turning what could have been an effective cameo into a distraction from the more prominent bots.
Effective
There are
Cameo? He's a supporting role.
You wanted him to have one scene and then they would leave him behind? Is that what
like a cameo's more jazz than anything, or Ironhide and RC.
Yeah, like a lot of the G1 characters are cameos because they're minors.
And like Wheeljack and Ratchet in the background, like those are cameos. Like, what are you talking about?
And like, we love B. Everyone loves B.
Well, there's some fans who think B is overused, but it's like he's a kid appeal character. He's popular for a reason. I'm
about to say there's a reason he's popular and we keep using him.
Well, yeah, for a lot of the younger audiences, and I think older fans are like a little bit tired of him. They feel he's kind of got Wolverine publicity, that trope. But I'm like, I still like him, so I don't care. But it's like, what are you? Like, what are you talking about? Like. And also, it got a few chuckles out of like his crew. It's like, no, they all told him to shut up. It got chuckles out of the audience when he finally said it the 3rd time.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, this is wrong. Okay. The Coneheads, those were a cameo.
Yeah.
The Conehead Decepticons. Bumblebee? Arguably, like he's like the second most recognizable Autobot to even normies.
Yeah.
Like, cameo? Gosh, no.
Yeah. Cameo.
So I
You don't know what
when
cameo
I first
is,
saw
Mr.
the
IGN.
trailer for Bayformers.
Wait,
I
sorry,
thought Bumblebee was the main Transformer because of how I remember
He
like
got the most screen time out of the Autobots in the first Transformer movie that Michael Bay directed, but it's very simple because Bumblebee is the scout. He's Optimus Prime's scout. That was always his role. He actually used to be one of the weaker Autobots in the original like G1 lore because he's the Kid Appeal character. But Michael Bay wanted to toughen him up a little bit since he's going to be the first Transformers were introduced. He's going to be in a lot more scenes, and he's created specifically to be Sam's protector for the movie, not created as in like, you know what I mean? Like, so like he needed to be a little bit tougher. So he does get in on a lot of more action scenes, especially and because he was so well liked in the first movie, they give him even more action scenes in the following movies because of general audiences liked Bumblebee. He's a likable character. And from since then, Bumblebee's been getting a lot more screen time because of that.
Yeah.
But the cameo, oh, that hurts my soul. Do you not know what a support? Gosh, I guess Alita's a cameo. I guess Starscream is a cameo. Does this man not know what okay, all right, I'm going to stop.
Most of Transformers 1's humor is pretty basic, broad enough for everyone to be in on the joke, but generally nothing that rises above quippy robot-themed banter. The shortest
actually no.
It's funny.
Like the trailer made it seem like it was, which is one of the main factors why everybody wrote the movie off. The first trailer was so bargain bin humor looking, but they posted a lot of stuff out of context, edited scenes together that really didn't match tones of what the jokes were trying to go for. And then you actually watch the movie. Like everybody that watched the movie, like you'll watch when you go to all these reactions. The very first joke that's told when Orion, does the watch this, and then he just run away.
I need to step back for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, cool. The very first joke that like I see it all the time in a lot of the reactions where Orion like he's just like can't transform. Watch this, and does the fake out run away. All reactioners I've seen to this movie busted a gut at that scene. And the movie's got a lot of jokes like that, where it's not, I mean, sure, there's some quips here and there, but it's really more snappy humor. It's very, it's just quick in its delivery. The only time a joke ever lingers is when Bumblebee does his second, this is my name. Yeah, and Alita tells him to shut up. That's the only joke but the point of that joke is it is, like everybody doesn't find him funny doing that. That's the joke, and they're like, "Stop it," because everybody has that one friend that's like, "They're like, hey, look at how cool." No, buddy, you're cringe. You just let it go, man. Just let it go. But no, like I'd say this movie's actually pretty funny. Like whenever I saw it in theaters, there was a lot of audiences laughing at it. I've seen reactioners laughing at it. My nieces and nephews were laughing at it. I still watch it and giggle at it at certain scenes. But when it gets serious, it gets serious. It's not like your typical Marvel movie, like he's kind of almost describing. Sure, that first trailer portrayed it as such, but it's not really that. It's not that at all.
It sounds like he's just like basing his opinions on the trailer and didn't actually watch the movie.
I'm sure he was sitting there and writing a review for a video game he actually hasn't played while watching this movie. Watching air quotes.
Watching a Let's Play while not watching Transformers 1.
Oh, he wouldn't watch a Let's Play. Come on. That would still technically be doing homework on a game that he's supposed to be reviewing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
End of the characterization stick goes to Johansson's Alita 1 for
Wait,
reasons
go back
that
a
have
little
very
bit.
little to do with her performance. The Black Widow star has done well.
Tim,
in
can you go
plenty
back
of
a little
those
bit?
films. Her shortest Johansson's Alita 1.
A little bit more.
Shortest end of the characterization stick goes to Johansson's Alita 1.
The shortest?
That have very little
Arguably,
to do
she
with
had
her
a little bit
performance.
more of an arc than B did.
Yeah.
He's just the comic relief character. He mostly stays the same character by the end of the movie. He's just gets a little bit like stands up for himself a little bit more in fight scenes, but he's still the jokey character. He's still the Kid Appeal character. She actually goes through a subtle change. To say that she's the shortest end of the stick?
No, you see a big change in her from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
Like her arc is
typical-
subtle, but
Yeah.
her change in attitude is a more dramatic one. It's just like subtly we see her becoming that person.
Like
It's
she
just-
softens up
that's
and
just-
starts to
that's just-
believe and yeah.
Okay.
Ugh.
Widow star has done well in plenty of voice roles. Her and the Jungle Book immediately come to mind. But Alita is drawn here as a caricature of a girl boss.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. First of all, her best voice work was in the Jungle Book live action, and not highlighting the fact. I know some people don't care for Illumination, but she played a major character in Sing.
Mm-hmm.
This is your. In Sing, she actually has her own song that she sings to, and it's like it's an original written song for Scarlett Johansson. And for somebody that never had vocal training in her life, she actually sings really, really well for somebody that's never done choir, vocal training for singing. She's got a natural talent for it. And
High
like,
key, it's a banger.
like I think the movie's just all right. It's just a cute movie. I'm not like enamored with it. But I'm like, I genuinely was impressed by the fact that I was like, oh, Scarlett Johansson actually did pretty good for voice acting for that. But I'm like, but we're gonna highlight. No, here she is as Ka. But also to say that she's a caricature of a girl boss? No, she's a subversion of a girl boss.
Yeah.
She is actually a girl boss.
Well, no, like the girl boss character trope is like they're mean,
like,
they're
literally.
nasty. They're always demeaning to the male characters, and they're correct. The male character's always wrong. They're always right. If someone's like, "Well, that is Alita," wrong. That's what Alita is. Seems like she's presented at first, but they slowly break that down. She recognizes that Orion needs to be the leader, not her. And sure, they make a joke by the end of the movie where he says somebody who's better than me in every way. Like, but Orion's poking fun at her. He's teasing her for her comment earlier of her really bad pep talk. And then she makes a quip back, being like, nah, actually, I'm great in waste management. like she's a subversion of a girl boss, because if she becomes his number one supporter, she recognizes that the male character needs to be the hero. He's actually the right one. He's the one who's inspiring. It's not like the most grand character arc. It's a subtle one, but she does go through one. And to say that, nah, she's basically like Captain Marvel. Also, you people simp for girl bosses. What are you talking about? Shut up, IGN.
It's I play both sides, so I always win. Except
No, everyone
always
hates you,
loses.
IGN.
They always lose because they pick the wrong side.
Okay, go back a
It's
couple
devoid of any-
seconds though, so we can hear this stupid girl boss quote in full context.
Immediately come to mind. But Alita is drawn here as a caricature of a girl boss, devoid of any real personality traits other than stern. Playing one of the only two female Cybertronians in the movie.
Oh no, that's just wrong. That's just wrong. That's just wrong. Okay. So we've already highlighted it earlier, but she does start to like she attempts a pep talk. She's bad at it, but she attempts one. Even in the scenes where Dee's explaining, or sorry, not explaining. He's starting to go a little bit unhinged here and there. We see her in the background, very silent. She's not saying anything. She's kind of letting Orion handle it, but you can tell she's clearly nervous. She's trying to motivate him. She immediately becomes his number one hype support gal. I can't remember which YouTuber it was. It's one of those React YouTubers, but I'll admit I watched a couple of reactions of this movie just to see, to see what a lot of Transformers fans thought of it, but also to see what a lot of normies thought of this movie that were watching it. This one normie had the funniest reaction though, where he said, like every big boss man needs him. Like a loyal hitman assassin chick, like at his side, and he said that because of Arachnid shows up, and he's just like, see, and that's what he says to his female co-host. And then when Alita punches Shockwave for daring to like threaten Orion, he's just like, see what I mean? Every great man needs him. And you could say, "Oh, see, proof, girl boss, stern girl." I'm like, no, she's doing that in defense of Orion because she's like, all of you, shut up, listen to him. Like, he's the one we follow.
Yeah.
And she expresses moments of doubt. Like, she's like, we can't do this. We're not going to make it. And it's always Orion that immediately flips that mood. By the end of the movie, or is it the scene of the fall? She's the one about to jump in the pit that B has to stop her, screaming for him. She's trying to reason with D16. She's right there with Orion being like, B, why did you cut down the door? Why are you going a little unhinged here? She's not just stern. She's a little more serious, sure. She's not as comical as the other two. But no, like, she has Orion makes her want to be softer. She's not good at being soft, but she like literally expresses a desire in that bad pep talk scene of how she's like, you inspire me. And she tries to be, his support in her own way.
She's like an aggressive cheerleader for Orion.
Yeah, like, okay, yeah, she is a bit aggressive, but like, again, she doesn't want to be. It's almost like he inspires her to be more than meets the eye.
Da 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 da.
Roll credits.
Yeah.
But my favorite part, like the script of Transformers 1, when it goes into the scene of her giving him the pep talk, they use a particular line that says gives him a shot at B12 or something like that, and I'm like, that is so cute.
B12 motivation. But it worked. Her really terrible cute. Pep talk worked because he kind of recognized what she was trying to do. Because even though at first it was comical, but then after she stumbles, she does genuinely say some actual, like, really, like, how she points out how he's inspiring. And she's like, and if we want to see our friends again, she's just like, you need to be that Orion Pax, the one that got us this far. That's the one we need. That's the one I'll follow, is basically what she's telling him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Breathe in. Breathe out.
The other being an angry spider lady, so take that for what it's worth.
Oh my gosh, no!
Did
no!
you just reduce Arachnid to just angry spider lady?
Oh my gosh, no! She's not even angry. She's cold and calculating.
She's intimidating, but not
angry spider lady. Oh my frick, no! This man does not understand how cool it is to see Arachnid in a major motion picture when she was a new character introduced in Transformers Prime.
Yeah.
I know several Transformers Prime people who probably saw this review and heard Arachnid reduced to angry spider lady and are probably having a cornea. They're like, what do you mean? She's like one of the scariest villains ever, and she finally made her film debut. Like, sure, she's not as scary as the one in Transformers Prime, but that's because that one has more screen time. She's still pretty intimidating here.
Yeah.
She's Sentinel's like #1 like supporter.
Well, yeah, because
scary.
And it's fascinating, especially when you know her character in Transformers Prime. Now, having seen Transformers Prime, where she has no loyalty to anyone. Well,
hey! Don't go too far into it. Julie's she hasn't gotten to episode 12 yet.
I'm almost there.
Which is the episode of Arachnid is introduced. Oh, Julie, it's like one of my favorite episodes ever. It's so scary.
I flash of her, like a quick look at her, like in episode 9 or 10.
She is awesome. You'll be like, gosh dang, I can see why she made an impression on the fandom. Like, she made an impression.
Yeah.
It's angry spider lady.
Enviable position for Johansson, and it basically forces her to shout at the boys to stop them from getting into trouble for the entire runtime.
No. We already said that that's just wrong and highlighted all the reasons, like why there's actually more depth to Alita's character. I'm not going to go into it again. You're just wrong.
Maybe it's just me, but he's different.
Yeah, no, I picked up on that.
Transformers 1's
Except
world
that's not
and
a line
character
that's actually in the
designs
movie. I get it. It's a trailer line, but you're
They use a lot of
using it
lines
to
in the trailer that
highlight
didn't
your
make it.
point.
is literal just dishonesty.
Heavily from the original Generation 1 era. Straight lines, wide curves, and smooth, shiny faces as far as the eye can see. Perhaps befitting of how closely it recreates the appearance of the toys, Transformers 1 looks best at rest, in dialogue scenes or the few moments of contemplation invited by Cybertron's vaporwave sunset. The sun slipping below the horizon may be the
moments of contemplation? This movie surprised me with how many moments that it would get real, as the kids say.
Yeah.
There was quite a lot of them where the scenes would just slow down and the characters, the pacing is fast, but there would be several moments where a moment will happen and then the characters react to it. And it's not always some action scene or stuff like that. Like, I was surprised how most of it is character drama. But whatever.
Yeah.
Coolest shot pulled off by director Josh Cooley, and I promise I haven't forgotten to include transforming robots in that calculation. Transformers 1 splits its time between the subterranean capital Iacon and Cybertron's abandoned surface, with the more interesting scenes taking place underground and the more interesting visuals captured above. On the musical front, Brian Tyler's...
Whoa. You don't think the Iacon City looks interesting to look at?
I like Iacon City in this movie.
I thought it was like the coolest thing, and the train system they came up with?
Yeah.
That was insane.
I want the
and
art,
I love
though,
the
so
way
beautiful.
the mines and how it things move around because Primus is alive. Like, what do you mean?
I think
everything
actually,
about this movie is beautiful.
I think he was actually sleeping when he was supposed to be watching the movie for the review.
This man was asleep. There is no way he watched this movie. I know everybody joked about that in the comment sections, but like unironically.
Yeah. Well, and that's something that struck me, especially with how really low the budget was for this movie. This movie is incredibly beautiful, like non-stop, like every single shot.
I think it's it reminds me of the Mario movie in that way, because both movies I believe were only made for like just $100 million or something like that.
Well, no, Transformers 1 was cheaper, wasn't it? Like 80 million.
It could be. It could be just a little bit less. Let me just double check.
No, 75 million.
75. Okay,
wow.
yeah. But I'm pretty sure most of that money went into paying the celebrity actors. But it looks good. And the backdrops, everything. And if you look at a lot of the stuff that the artist drew and that they brought to life in their the brief little bits of concept art they show on Twitter, which I'm like, Hasbro, release an art book. I know one exists. They even talked about one existing, but they're auctioning it off with some autographs in there. And I'm like, no, mass produce it. Like, don't you want money, Hasbro?
Yeah.
Collectors will go nuts for that.
Give it to us. Give it to us.
Like, this movie's really pretty to look at. Oh man, okay. This movie, this review. It really kills brain cells. That's why I wanted us to do it. Because I'm a masochist.
We need to beat IGN.
Yeah. They used to kill people with hammers for saying stuff like that.
Or unfortunately barely registers. It's generically orchestral with rote...
No, go back. I'm sorry. This is the part that triggered me the most.
Musical front, Brian Tyler's score unfortunately barely registers. It's generically orchestral with rote touches of electronica.
Okay, no. And granted, it gets worse. It gets so much worse. The further he tries to go on this point. But Julie, since you're starting Prime, same composer that did Prime did Transformers 1 music. Don't you kind of notice that flow? That style? It's like, oh, this is clearly the same composer.
And it's the same guy who did the Mario movie.
Which that's the only... He's going to bring up the Mario movie because he's going to be like, this is so shocking because the Mario movie music is so much better. I recognize music from the Mario movie, but I didn't recognize any music from here. And I'm like, that shows me you're not a Transformers fan, because if he incorporates motifs here and there from other Transformers media, Transformers Prime, the Bayformers movies, 86, and other things, but like, but it's also his own, like, this movie's also got its own leitmotifs. But you can also tell it's Brian Tyler because if I listen to Transformers Prime music and wow, it sounds similar to his filmography.
Well, and because I've heard a couple of people who would be like, "Oh, they didn't use."
The chat. Wait, what? Nani?
Yeah.
You're angering people so much they're speaking in tongues.
Yeah, it's just like if you don't recognize it, that just means you're ignorant about the music of Transformers.
But yeah, okay, go back a little bit. We need to hear the full clip so I can see everybody erupt on it.
More interesting scenes taking place underground and the more interesting visuals captured above. On the musical front, Brian Tyler's score unfortunately barely registers. It's generically orchestral with rote touches of electronica that elevate neither the drama or action. And that's a little bit surprising because Brian Tyler actually turned in one of my favorite animated movie scores of the last few years. He did the score for the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which was a really, really good mix of staying true to the game music and kind of making it come alive for a movie. And that just doesn't happen here. Tyler's score in
you clearly do not watch Transformers!
Can I cuss on this stream?
Go ahead.
Sure.
He's a fucking dumbass.
I told you guys, I was like, no, you need to hear the full criticism. It just gets worse.
He was asleep. That's why he didn't listen to it.
Like, we unfortunately can't play any of the music because Paramount will, like, nuke us from oblivion. But, like, in a separate window, pick a track. Pick literally any track from Transformers 1, and you'll be like, wow, this is beautiful. Especially the one that everybody knows the most, The Fall. Like, it's burned into everybody's brain. And The Fall, very specifically, has motifs from Transformers Prime, the motif of Transformers 1, 86, and I believe one of the Bayformers is all mixed in there with its own flair. It literally does exactly what he did in the Mario movie. He made Transformers music come alive while giving it its own identity. It's almost like that. He's just a good composer. Yeah, just because you don't recognize it and just because you're clearly not a Transformers fan.
Yeah, it's like the reason he recognizes Mario is just because he knows Mario music. He doesn't know Transformers music, so he's like, I don't recognize this music. It's bad.
Which it's funny because if there's people who this is like their first Transformers movie, and a lot of them will say, like I've seen in a couple of reactions, ooh, this track is gorgeous. Or like, oh wow, this is beautiful. And then like it's just somebody being like, the visuals, the music, why is this going so hard? Oh my god. Like, they're just like they don't have to know Transformers lore to understand that there's being references thrown at them right and left with the musical score.
Yeah.
Julie, did you know that? When you watched it? Did you, Jamie?
No.
Because it's like I recognized a couple because of when I first went into watching this movie. Like I said, I only watched a handful of Transformers stuff. I've played a handful of Transformers games, and I watched the first 2 seasons of Transformers Prime. I rewatched Transformers Prime all the way completely through after seeing this movie. But like I caught a couple of references, but then whenever I started listening to other hardcore lifelong fans and whenever they pointed out different musical scores, I started to listen to soundtracks to so many other Transformers media because they were all saying, wow, this movie's such a love letter. This scene's a reference to this. This scene's a reference to this. This score, very specifically, this part, this motif is this motif from this. This is very specifically taken from the death of Optimus Prime. And I had war flashbacks hearing those notes. And I'm just like, oh, wow. You can tell it's made by somebody who loves Transformers. Like, and everybody who worked on it clearly loved Transformers. Down to the celebrity casting. I know some people don't like celebrity casting, but a lot of them love Transformers. Chris Hemsworth and Brian Tyler. I said his name wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Brian. I'm sorry. All of you are great. Henry and all of them, like, they talk about how they loved playing with the Transformers toys. they were like, this was a dream come true for like our younger selves. Like it's all like everybody who jumped in on this was like, yeah, this is something I want to do because of there's like, or I'm a fan of animation, or I'm a fan of Transformers, or I'm a fan of this. Like, it's all made by people who genuinely cared. It's not made out of, we just want to make a buck. I mean, sure, the producers might be, but like, not the people who actually worked on it. I mean, okay, everything's made it because they do want to make money, but like, there's passion here.
Well, yeah, and a lot of the producers, it's like a lot of people say, oh, well, Michael Bay, like, a lot of the producers on this movie have been producing, like,
for a while.
Like, all of the live-action Transformers movies.
And Michael Bay has also been a producer on every single thing, even after he stopped directing, because he actually come to like the Transformers IP, so he would help fund, and he has a production studio too, and he helped fund Bumblebee, he helped fund Rise of the Beast, he helped fund this, and he wants to help fund, if it ever gets off the ground, the G.I. Joe and Transformers crossover movie that they're trying to get made. Like, it's almost like, you know, it's like it also helped turn people into fans. You can argue whether or not you agree with their point of view, but like it's just frustrating that this guy, the audacity of this man.
It really is a good 40th anniversary movie.
Oh yeah.
Well, and just to say that about the music is just so, especially after I recently rewatched Prime, and I could tell Brian has a very specific style to his music, and like obviously the Mario movie, it's not quite his style, but he's trying to incorporate the very specific flavor and style of the Mario game music in orchestra form, and you can tell there was a lot of love for Mario. You could tell he cared about Mario. He fought tooth and nail for that star theme to get put in instead of just some licensed track. So just to say, well, gee, Mario's the only time he did good. I'm like, did you actually listen to anything that Brian Tyler's ever composed? Ever. Because he likes Transformers. And I don't think you do. But I digress. How are you doing, chat? Is your brain melted yet?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're thoroughly brain fried.
I'm glad we're all very offended. Like I said, this was the one that really offended me when I heard it. Because I remember when I first saw this review. When I first saw this review, I recently purchased the soundtrack for Transformers 1, and I was like listening to it on repeat in my car. And then I purchased the Transformers Prime soundtrack and listened to it on repeat. And then I heard the audacity of this man. And I was like, I'm going to crash out, man. I'm going to crash out. Too late. My brain was already fried. Rip Ghost. F in the chat.
Yeah.
F's for ghosts. We have to pay respect.
Background music. It may as well not be there. Setting the story entirely on Cybertron raises the question of how well it...
I'm going to crash out again, saying it may as well not be there. I wish I could play the fall. I wish I could play... Okay, chat. In a separate window, because we can't play it here or Cool Man's going to get nuked by Paramount's copyright bots. They are like one of the most aggressive companies ever when it comes to copyright. Them and Warner Brothers. In a separate window, just put on the fall specifically and have this man, again, it may as well not be there. And now remember that scene where he gets dropped. And he's and just side by side where he is just going on a rampage, whereas Orion is falling deeper and deeper into the core of the planet. And then this stupid man, it may as well not be there. What do you mean by no? Actually wrong.
So wrong.
Okay.
Transformers 1 is just background music. It may as well not be there. Setting the story entirely on Cybertron raises the question of how well a Transformers movie can function without humans there to draw contrast to
What
the
are
future
you
Autobots.
talking about?
Their designs pull heavily from the original.
Oops, sorry.
Okay, buddy. What do you... Bro has not played War for Cybertron or Fall for Cybertron, and it shows. Bro has not watched Beast Wars, and it shows. I like the Transformers interacting with their human friends. I genuinely love to see the Autobots interacting with their human friends. It's genuinely heartwarming, especially because it's like, oh, they're like this one big, awkward, strange family. But it's cute. But, like, it's okay to sometimes have settings where it's just the Cybertronians doing their own thing, trying to deal with all their mess before they come to Earth. If anything, that helps me get more invested in them when they do come to Earth, because that makes the stakes of what they're going through that much more bigger. Which is why I would love to see more sequels, because I want them to come to Earth and interact with the humans. I'm invested. That's why I want a real sequel to Fall of Cybertron. It's why I love Devastation, but one of my few criticisms is I wish Spike and Carly at least cameoed in there, or at least called in here and there, because I feel like it would make that much more stronger, especially one of, like, my favorite lines from Peter Cullen when he talks about how Earth is their home now and they must do anything they can to protect it. And that absence of a human character to bounce off them is a little bit odd. For how dedicated they are to protecting Earth, but that's a different thing. This story doesn't need human characters because this has nothing to do with humans. This is about their home and the stakes that are going on their home.
It feels like a disservice to the actual characters, because the Transformers aren't just like, they're robots, but they have actual, like, feelings and
they're like us. They have souls. That's the whole point. That's why, like, they bond with humans, because they're giant transforming robots, but they have souls too, or sparks in their case. But they're just as alive as we are. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
This movie can function without humans there to draw contrast to the future Autobots and Decepticons. It's not just because of the logical quandaries that abound, like why it is that Orion Pax can turn
factions.
What is a human gonna do in this story?
The war's been going on for 4 million years. Humans didn't exist.
Or maybe they did. I'm not sure in the Transformers 1 universe if Pangea is, like, not a thing yet or not. Maybe it's well after the fact. We don't know. We would need a sequel for that. But again, that you're talking about a criticism that the movie's not even trying. Like, this is a bad criticism because of the movie's not trying to have that human point of view. It's their point of view. If you can't relate to them, that's on you. Plenty of people can relate to non-human characters and different storylines just fine. A lot of people loved Halo 2 because if we could relate to the Arbiter just fine and get really engrossed in his story despite the fact that he's an alien. A lot of people watched movies like Robin Hood and Zootopia or Fox and the Hound or Lion King, and they can get attached to these animal or animalistic characters just fine despite the fact that they're not humans. Like, they'll be like, it doesn't matter if things are an animal or like a bug or like a toy. Like Bug's Life, Monsters Inc., Toy Story, you don't need a human to be able to, like, really see a point of view of a character. They just have to have traits that we can connect with. You know, human traits, emotions, feelings, stakes, drama. Yes, politics that you don't think were really fleshed out well.
Yeah.
I remembered this review being really, really bad, and I knew I was going to crash out, but sometimes you're like, I shouldn't be surprised, and yet here I am, crashing out.
into a big rig billions of years before any sort of truck would be invented on a planet light years away.
Okay, no, I'm
you're
sorry.
So stupid. You're
No,
so
I'm sorry. No.
anything.
Oh, there's why do they have a concept of it's a Cybertronian truck? Bro, they're aliens.
They have advanced technology. Of course, they have vehicles that we haven't had yet.
Well,
Are they expecting us to,
that's
like-
their species. They can transform into vehicles. That's the point of the franchise. Transformers, robots in disguise. It's like,
Are they
if
expecting them to
you
transform
can't
to, like, wagons or
comprehend
what?
the basic premise of this entire franchise, we're gonna have problems. This is so nitpicky. Like, this is nitpicky to the point where it's not even valid. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? That's just what they are. They're vehicles that can transform into all these things. We don't need any how come they can transform into things that haven't been invented yet on planet Earth? Maybe things don't revolve around planet Earth. You ever think about that?
He's never watched a Transformers show ever.
He hasn't.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Even in the Bayformer films, we see Megatron still transform into Cybertronian. Oh, excuse me, a burp. Sorry, Cybertronian vehicles. This guy's giving me heartburn. And like Megatron specifically, he transforms into like a Cybertronian-esque jet and a Cybertronian-esque tank. Like, he doesn't take human shapes because he hates humanity. Like, so, like, yes, like, I'm sorry. That's just been a thing. That's even been a thing in certain other franchises where there are also human point of view characters. Bro, you just do not Transformers at all. Wusa. What is Wusa? I'm
Packs
sorry.
can turn into a big rig billions of years before any sort of truck would be invented on a planet light years away from Cybertron. You might not be thinking about these kinds of things, but I definitely do.
You
We
were
don't
not
want
thinking
you
about
to.
anything.
You weren't thinking.
Also, Ghost, I keep seeing you say WUSA. Is that like an acronym or? Am I supposed to do a Jar Jar Binks impersonation? You'll have to forgive me, Ghost. I'm a little bit stupid. My brain is fried. This guy has killed all brain cells. You now understand why I'm like, no, you guys need to see how bad this is.
Yeah.
Did they not have like a Transformers fan working at IGN at the time? Did they have to
IGN
get this
doesn't
done?
have anybody that actually is a fan of anything working there.
Oh,
Okay.
I've never seen Bad Boys 2, so I didn't. Like, the most I remember I know of Bad Boys 2 is from Hot Fuzz, when he's like, so what do you want to watch? Point Break or Bad Boys 2?
This guy's really bad.
Survive this! I'm gonna kill you! I accept those terms.
Transformer
I'm gonna
1's
redact
entire sense of perspective suffers from not having meat bags around for scale. It's a problem from the
No.
Who cares? That's
Scale is important when you have human characters to understand how big these things are, specifically when they're on Earth. But that's not the purpose of this movie. You don't need a sense of scale, but guess what? They do have senses of scale by showing things that are even bigger than these creatures that can turn into vehicles that we can jump in and drive.
There is a scale because like those without a T-Cog are much smaller than those with one.
Yeah, there's that too. But like, also like, think about it. Like, these things can turn into bikes and tanks and helicopters and cars and trucks. There's your scale. Use your imagination. You pea brain. But like, do you even need to really conceptualize that? Like, is that really important for this movie? There's a bunch of things bigger than these guys. Do we really need to imagine what that is to a human? Because this movie's not about the perspective from a human. It's from the perspective of these Cybertronians.
He just really wanted a human in this movie. He can only relate to a human.
He's literally going full Gaston on this. He's like, I can't understand this movie. Where are the humans?
Sounds like bro's got an empathy problem because I can relate to a bug while watching A Bug's Life. So
yeah,
and I don't like bugs. ants are like my enemy, but oh man, do I feel for those ants? Oh, where's the sense of scale? It's in the movie. If you paid attention, look at how huge that cave is. You're talking about scale when we're showing this giant cave in front of these robots.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
What are you talking about? You're just using words and think they mean something.
Opening moments when we see Orion Pax climbing up a building to sneak into an archive for information on the lost.
Pause. I'm gonna keep harping on this scale comment. That opening scene, we see how big that building is compared to Orion. We're talking about scale. There's a very lingering shot of D, like sitting and like mourning over the corpse of Megatronus Prime as his hand is touching his helmet. And how much bigger these primes are to them is very much showcased in that scene. Or whenever Sentinel shows up and how big he is in that little chamber, like whenever he comes to see them after the race fiasco, like there is emphasis on. Okay, you can go back a couple scenes, but I'm just like, no, you just didn't pay attention.
Orion Pax climbing up a building to sneak into an archive for information on the lost primes. He's quickly caught by guards who are much bigger than him, but how big is Orion to begin with? The scale issue is at its most egregious during Transformers 1's chases, races, and all-out robot warfare.
No?
Why does that matter? Why does it matter how big
Why
Orion
is he harping so much on the scale issue?
Because he has no empathy, and he's just like, I need to know how big these things are to a human.
They're pretty fucking big.
They're big.
They're big. They're vehicles. If you're like,
all
well,
you need
how
to
big
know.
if your brain is going, well, how big is Orion compared to these other robots? Like, they turn into these flying vehicles. Imagine how big a helicopter is, buddy, to you. And then you look at Orion standing next to that, and then you're like, oh, dang. That's how big Orion must be at this part in the movie. And then you see Orion next to the other little worker bots, and then you're like, oh, shoot, he's gotten bigger, and he can turn into a truck. Well, gee, I know what the size of a flatbed is in comparison to me. Say, it must be pretty big. Or maybe just look up an image online of Orion Pax or Optimus Prime standing next to any one of his human allies in any continuity, and then you're like, oh, so that's how big he is. But you don't actually watch Transformers, because why do you even care about scale? To a human! We're not on Cybertron! Go watch Transformers Prime! Then you'll see a human on Cybertron!
Yeah.
Go watch the 86 cartoon! You'll see Daniel hanging out with all of them! Okay. I crashed out again. Sorry about that, chat.
It's just nonstop crash outs.
It only gets worse.
Deploys at all the expected moments. The action may be flashy and fast-paced, but good luck keeping track of what's actually going on. While the most famous Transformers...
The action is really good in this movie.
It's not hard to keep track of the story.
silhouettes are all stark and in keeping with what you'd imagine those characters to look like, the action is largely captured by the virtual camera in a way that turns everything into a blur of nondescript robot bodies crashing against alien landscapes and architecture.
He's so stupid. Everything out of his mouth is stupid.
I can't.
That's something that I always thought, especially when you get to like the one-on-one fight scenes, is just how smooth and clever they are. Like especially in the big fight at the end between Optimus and Megatron. Like I remember it was on my I don't know if it was my second or third watching of this movie, where I noticed that when Optimus rips the cannon off of his tank form.
That was actually your first viewing. You recognized
Oh, it was?
that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when we were in the theater. I remember you geeked out about that specifically whenever he reattaches the cannon.
Yeah, because he slams it into Megatron, who then reattaches it to his back and turns it and blasts him with it. And I'm like, that's such a great, especially when you're watching it multiple times and you're seeing just how many times they do that. Like one shot when
the thing we noticed after a third viewing is when Orion transfers the energy axe from one hand to another. for the big, before he slices the gun in half of the arm cannon, and you actually see the energy lines goes from like one arm through his chest and then up the other arm, and then the energy axe pops up. We were like, oh wow, that's such a cool detail. I'm like, but there's a lot of cool shots in this movie. Like when the action gets going, people are like, oh dang, this is really cool. I geeked out specifically whenever he caught I think it was one of Starscream's missiles, and then he just drops it on Soundwave when Soundwave's just barely getting back up after. Like he's like taking on Shockwave, Soundwave, and Starscream. Like he's just like bam, bam, bam. And then the kick that Alita does when she like goes to kick the gun up before she shoots it, and her body, like her lower torso, does like a 360, like to kick it. It was just like, dang, there's like a lot of really quick, snappy, but really cool. Like they actually think about how these transforming robots fight. Like Optimus's smokestacks, like suddenly having a little bit of a rocket boost so he can have a stronger punch, and like just like him ducking his head inside his body to be able to dodge a hit, and just or whenever he uses his transformation to destroy a Viacon, like as he's clinging onto it. Like there's so much thought of these things would not fight like a human. There can be some human elements, but they're transforming robots. Let's use elements of their actual transformation in these fight scenes, and because it's all animated, we can just do that.
Yeah, that's the realization Josh Cooley had, because if you watch a behind the scenes segment on the DVD and Blu-ray, he goes on to talk about like, oh, they use models for the fight scene, and he's like, well, this isn't very exciting because it's humans, and so they're like, okay, let's get creative, and it works.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Also, you're alone in this category. Nobody agrees with you. Everybody who watched this movie, even the few people who didn't like it, who are just wrong, said the fight scenes were actually really well done in this movie. So you're just wrong. You just slept through this movie.
Everyone clowns on you.
Yeah. I know, it's got like a 95% dislike ratio, if I remember.
Any means of comparison becomes critical in these moments as you're trying to understand things like where your heroes are, how fast they're going, and who's fighting who.
No, you can't be using
You just showed a scene where we can clearly see Orion is kicking one character, grabbing another, and about to yeet him.
Scale issue.
You're using... You're literally showing a scene that proves you wrong. I can follow along. I can tell that Starscream and Orion's about to yeet him. I can tell he like bodied Shockwave and Soundwave before he yeets Starscream.
What direction they're going. Basics that Transformers 1 doesn't always account for.
I can know what direction you're going forward!
Just because you're cinematically illiterate doesn't mean the rest of us are.
We can watch a movie.
Bro was drunk and asleep while watching this movie. There's no way.
You know, maybe Patrick Williams was right. You can, in fact, watch a movie wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, you in fact can watch a movie wrong.
Amazing.
The battles feel like a kid slamming two Transformers toys together, and I say that with the...
And that's why it's awesome, you idiot!
Also, I wouldn't even say it's two kids slamming Transformers together. That's just wrong. That's just wrong. This is what a kid is imagining in their head when they're slamming their two Transformers together.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what kid is doing the sophistication of catching a missile and then throwing it at another character and like all this other stuff that goes on, or Alita's torso doing a full 360 before like she's like kicks up a gun and starts shooting at enemies, or like, oh, let's do all this other stuff of Optimus transforming on top of a Viacon to crush the Viacon, or just no, this is wrong. No, you're just wrong. You're just wrong.
lived experience of having done the very same with my Beast Wars, Rat Trap, and Cheetor toys as a kid. But at
Okay,
least
you
in
did
that
not
one-
watch Beast
No.
Wars.
Shut up.
I don't
You might have the
believe you.
toys, but you did not watch Beast Wars. If you're this fixated on, where's the humans? And, several Beast Wars fans I know are screaming at you, and they're also telling you to immediately give up your toys and give it to them instead because you lost all rights to have them.
This is so dumb.
instance, I could
Almost
keep track
done.
of what was going on, who was involved, what was at stake, and where my fruit roll-up was in relation to the plastic carnage. Sadly, you can't always say
You
the
have
same
a
for
very, very bad attention span then.
I
Like I have ADHD. I could follow it along just fine, buddy.
Yeah. Skill issue.
My nieces and nephews followed along just fine, and they were getting into it, and they are, kids, very little kids. Only one of them in double digits. The rest of them are all in single digits, and all of them could handle this movie just fine. That's pretty bad for you.
Mm.
Transformers 1, you will lose your fruit roll-up from time to time.
You were really hung
Dude,
up on the fruit roll-up thing. Like,
Did you lose your fruit roll-ups as a kid and it just traumatized you?
No. He was drunk and eating a fruit roll-up while watching this scene and not paying attention, and somebody behind him kicked his seat and told him to turn his phone off so they could actually enjoy the movie, and he lost his fruit roll-up. And he was very traumatized about that. He really wanted that fruit roll-up while he watched
This is his venting. He's using this as therapy to vent his anger at losing his fruit roll-up in the movie. How do you do, fellow Beast Wars nerds?
Oh my gosh.
Liar!
I must name popular show to blend in.
If you did watch Beast Wars, you haven't watched it since you were like 6 years old. Or
I don't
whatever.
believe for a second he watched Beast Wars. I don't even think he actually owns the toys. I think he just looked up what's a sacred cow in the Transformers fandom right now.
What was airing when I was a child?
Yeah, like what is the one thing that everybody agrees is good nowadays? So Beast Wars has a lot of nostalgia behind it. I'll reference that.
Mhm.
Oh, there's a reference in fruit roll muffins. Only Cool Man will understand that reference.
Oh, that's a deep cut reference.
No matter what.
Transformers 1's core duo of Orion Pax and D16 and the fallout of their broken friendship provide an occasional spark, but despite the efforts of its
Occasional!
It's the heart of the movie.
It's only
literally-
the heart and soul of it's the beating spark of this movie.
It's not just the heart, it's the spine, it's the muscles, it's the brain, it's everything. This movie is based on their relationship and the fallout that results from it.
It's like the one thing. It's like the one thing that's the backbone of this whole thing.
The whole point is to
Occasional.
show how they go from best friends to being mortal enemies. What?
It tugs at the heartstrings, man. It hurts the spark. It short circuits it.
Okay, we're almost done. We're almost done.
Oh, we're almost done.
impressive voice cast and a standout performance from Brian Tyree Henry, the animated origin story rarely shows anything more than meets the eye.
Oh.
Oh gosh.
Boy.
We just don't have the energy.
No.
We're just like, no.
Inspired aesthetic is cool in small doses, but Transformers 1 regularly fumbles trying to follow its transforming robots through the action.
No,
Though
it
the
don't.
tragedy of Optimus Prime and Megatron's storied rivalry could have felt larger than life,
It
Transformers 1 is mostly
Yeah.
content with half-hearted puns and
No,
barely
it's not.
No, it's not.
There's nothing
just
funny
watch the
about
trailer?
it.
Actually, I can't think of. Okay, you love puns, cool man. Can you think of an immediate pun?
I'm a connoisseur of puns. In this movie, I don't remember there being any puns. If there were,
could
there were
be,
just
but
a few.
I genuinely don't remember one.
I really don't think there was any.
There could be, but like I said, I don't remember. You're
Yeah,
just using think they mean what you think they mean, but they don't. Keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Yeah, if there were puns, they were really subtle ones. Like they weren't like a character literally says something.
There's quips and a couple of like quick references to like deep cut references, like in terms of both jokes and just genuine fan service references. But like, I can't really think of any standout puns.
No. You're just wrong.
Unless you're talking about More Than Meets the Eye, which that's not a pun. That's a reference.
That's a slogan.
Yeah.
Like, the movie has references. It has Easter eggs. It has Aatron, but that was also a reference.
There's Steve.
Yeah.
Cybertronian battles that could have used some major transforming before, say it with me, rolling out.
Shut up! You don't get to say that.
Look, that's Starscream and your Shockwave and
Mediocre.
Soundwave.
Yeah.
Gosh,
5
they
out of
should
10, guys. How do you feel about that?
He's mediocre.
Exactly. Actually, no. Mediocre implies average. He's less than mediocre.
I give this review a 1 out of 10.
I want you guys to keep in mind, this is the company that keeps sucking off Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But Transformers 1 is a 5 out of 10. This is why everybody doesn't like you and makes fun of you.
Yeah.
If Wave is in your name, there's a lot of Wave.
Thanks for watching. For more movie reviews, check out what we thought of Beetlejuice.
No, we won't.
No, I don't want to know what you think of this movie. I don't want to know what you think of any movie.
No, we're done. You're gone.
So, that was painful. I knew it was going to be painful. I remember it being painful. And yet, here I am.
We managed to spend over 2 hours on that. Was it like a 10-minute video?
Well,
There's so much wrong with it. We had to talk about it.
It's like going through a very painful digestive experience. You're going to be in the bathroom for a while.
You feel better afterwards.
I don't know. There's some scars.
It's like a combination of like nitpicking and like not paying attention to what the actual movie is.
But it's like the wrong kind of nitpicking too. It's like there's like the biggest example of a nitpicking. It's like, why is there robots transforming into Earth-type vehicles when they haven't met Earthlings yet? It's like, well, gee, I don't know. Why is there characters named Jazz and Orion, by the way, because that's a constellation from Earth. Like, what are we talking about? And like all these other people that are named like Hot Rod, like Earth terms. Why do they all have that? Because it just is. That's how the franchise always been. Shut up.
Yeah. In fact, G1 was way worse about this because in recent years they at least tried to be like, okay, he's not called Bumblebee. He's B127, and
but Jazz is still Jazz. That's what I mean. Like it's just a thing. It's just how they are. That's their names. You take it or leave it. They're aliens. It's a kids' cartoon.
Yeah, like and we can presume that a lot of this stuff is like the Cybertronian equivalent. It's just being translated into English for our benefit, so they don't have to.
It's just a kids show, and they're toys, but it's got cool lore. Stop getting lost in the weeds when you're missing the important substance. But then he's making just genuinely bad criticisms when the movie's like, we're not talking about a human perspective. Why do you keep harping about this?
I feel like he needed writing material, so he just started like picking at the little things that don't matter.
Like a nitpick is like a genuine, in my opinion, of what a nitpick is, because everybody's got a different definition of nitpick. But to me, a nitpick really is, it's a criticism that's small, but it's inconsequential, but it's actually something that's legitimately there. Like that's a legitimate flaw. Like Lord of the Rings, there's a scene where they forgot like there was a helicopter somewhere in the background in editing or something like that, I think. It's very quick and you'll miss it.
Yeah, I remember there was a one scene where there's a car and it's one
there
of
was
the
a car.
big wide
That's what it was. It was a car.
Yeah,
or
and
like in Game of Thrones, there was a coffee cup and the editors forgot to edit that out. And it was just like, yeah. That's a genuine flaw, but it's small because that's not the point of the scene. if you're really going to get lost in the weeds of something like that, then yeah, something technically can be a flaw, but like you're getting a little bit too hung up on something that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of the story. It's not the same as like a genuine plot hole. Like you're like, yeah, that is an editing error. Anyways, moving on. We all agree that's an editing error. Like Jurassic Park, there's a bit of an editing error when it comes to the T-Rex scene. Like one scene it's a paddock, and another scene it's a cliff. It's like, wait a minute, then where did the T-Rex come from? Why is it suddenly a cliff over there? But it's like, that's an editing error. Like, yeah, we all agree that's an editing error. Anyways, moving on. That doesn't change the rest of the scene for us. Like, but it's like that's okay. That's a nitpick. But we all agree. Yeah, that's a flaw. Anyways, moving on. That doesn't discount the rest of the movie. Like the movie doesn't hinge on something like that. Meanwhile, like you'll have other movies where suddenly like a character's fighting and they make a knife disappear just so that a character can't die. It's like, that character had a knife previously and suddenly he doesn't conveniently have it just so the girl boss can kick a guy. It's like, she would have been very much dead in this fight if that guy still had that knife. It's like, but this isn't the same thing.
Yeah, and they were way nicer to The Last Jedi than Transformers 1.
Yeah, I was shading The Last Jedi. Cool, man. Understood that reference.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, what do you mean? And it's like, oh, an Alita's just a caricature of a girl boss. Grace Randolph did this again with Peach, too. She's just like, oh, Peach is like blah, 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 blah. It feels like they're trying to, like, girl boss her or something. And I'm like, no. I'm like, why are you guys suddenly being like, actually, we don't like girl boss characters on characters who aren't girl bosses?
You need to put that term on the shelf.
Like, stop it.
I believe you do not know what that word means.
Oh, that's right. IGN gave Last Jedi a 10, cool, man. Yeah, that side tells me everything I need to know. But this is a 5. This is why everybody makes fun of IGN. This is why everybody makes fun of them. They give terrible game reviews. They give terrible movie reviews. Nobody cares. That everybody knows that they're just failed journalists who wanted to go out and be like real journalists and critics, but are angry that they're saddled with pop culture nerdy stuff. And that's the best shot they can get at a journalist job. Because you guys suck. That's why none of the other places would take you. Yeah, they're terrible. We know where the story's gonna go. Yeah, that's what's called being a prequel.
Yeah.
The whole point is you're trying to see, like, we all know the destination. We want to see the journey. That's the point of a prequel.
Well, I know one of the most famous prequels is Metal Gear Solid 3, one of the most revered games in history. And you know that it's going to end with Big Boss or Snake becoming Big Boss, or at least being put on that
like
path.
Yakuza 0. We all know that Kiryu's going to make his way back in to the family because Yakuza 1 happens. We all know Majima's going to become the Mad Dog. But it's like, oh, how are they going to get there? How are these characters going to reach that point? And what journey are they all going to take? And we also know the empty lot is eventually going to become the Millennium Tower. But what's the story behind of why this, like, everybody's fighting for XYZ? I don't want to get too into the weeds because Yakuza 0 is a really good game. But, like, that's the whole point of a prequel. Halo Reach, we all know Reach is going to get glassed by the Covenant. Like, that's the thing. That's not why you're playing the game. You're playing the game because you want to get to that heart-wrenching ending. Rogue One, we all know that the Death Star plans are gonna get to the rebellion. We want to see how it gets there. That's the point. We all know Anakin is gonna become Darth Vader and he's gonna have a big fight with Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's the point. We want to see how they get there. But I digress. So, chat, you have fun.
You're gonna be like, why did you subject us to this video?
I mean, y'all clicked on the link and you stayed.
Yeah. You did this to yourself, technically.
Yeah. I absolve myself of all crimes.
We love suffering together.
Yeah.
Misery does love company. That's why I said, girls, you join in on this stream. But very quickly, to end on a fun note. What is everybody's favorite Transformer out of all the transforming stuff media that they've gotten into? I know, Julie, you're still new at it, but it's okay. I already know what Janie's answer is going to be, so we're ending on her. Cool, man.
I'd probably say Transformers Prime Ratchet.
He's great. I do like him a lot. He is entertaining. It would be so easy to say Optimus or Bumblebee because, well,
Yeah.
it's Optimus and Bumblebee. So I'm going to not pick Optimus and Bumblebee because I love them to bits, especially certain continuities of them. So I'm going to say Grimlock, specifically Fall of Cybertron Grimlock, because
he is
also,
so good.
Also Fall of Cybertron Shockwave, because oh my gosh, I love Shockwave in the game. It's so good. And Prime Starscream also, he's enjoyable. And Knockout, I love Knockout as well. Knockout's hilarious.
And he's voiced by Timmy Turner's dad.
Yeah.
all good selections.
And I have to say also, I just love Alita 1 and RC. I know I said one, but I can't stop yammering about ones I love. But sorry, Julie, I interrupted you.
It's okay. For me, I think it's actually Ratchet in Prime too. He's just so funny in the comically serious way, and I love the running gag. He's like, "Hey, I needed that.
I needed that." Okay, Janie, I know you've been waiting.
Take the podium.
I have many favorites, but like after Optimus, my boy Hot Rod, Rodimus.
Yeah.
I love him.
Hot Rod is your son, your giant
He
robot
is my
son.
son. He is Robot's son, and I love him. Do not talk bad about him. I will crash out.
Do not talk to me or my son ever again.
There's just a tiny little human Janie, and she's pointing to this giant like racing car behind her, and she's just like, "Don't talk to me or my son ever again."
That is my emotional support robot.
He's great. He is underrated. Oh yeah, I love Arachnid. She's such an intimidating villain. She's great. Cool Man brought it up earlier, but Frank Welker, because he's done Megatron so many times, but his Prime Megatron is probably my favorite version of the character of when he voices him, because he sounds so menacing and demonic, because sometimes, a lot of the Decepticons can be jokes. And other times they're very serious threats. It varies on if they want to be a more comical series or not. But Megatron, with his many failures, it can diminish his threat level in a series. And Prime, they somehow it's mostly just Frank Welker, just because of just how scary he just makes Megatron. Even with multiple failures that can happen, he shows up in the room, and all characters in the room are just like, "Oh crap, it's Megatron." It's pretty good. But I have to say, out of the games I played, Devastation was the most fun. It was genuinely really fun. But I do love the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, and I think Johnny Young Bosch is a perfect choice for Bumblebee. He's good as Bumblebee.
He does very well.
I was like, oh, that's a great cast for Bumblebee. And I also think Will Friedle is great as Bumblebee as well, for the little bit we get of him in Transformers Prime. I'm not talking about Robots in Disguise.
We do not speak of Robots in Disguise 2000.
Which is such a waste, because Will Friedle's a perfect cast choice for Bumblebee as well. But I digress. But Jetfire, I see you in the chat. Ironhide, great choices. Great choices.
I love Texas Cybertronian.
Barricade, Prowl, excellent choices.
Jazz is really good too. I love Jazz.
Yeah, Jazz is awesome. I do like Jazz a lot. And oh yeah, that's right.
Optimus.
Corey Burton did do animated Megatron's voice. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Oh, he did so well in that show, and he reprised Shockwave because Corey Burnham was Shockwave in G1, and so they brought him back for animated also.
Corey Burton's just a good actor in general.
Yeah.
He did a very shockingly good impersonation of
Christopher Lee.
Yeah, Christopher Lee. Whenever he was voicing him and Dooku in the Clone Wars, to the point that when Christopher Lee heard him do some test lines for the pilot movie, and then they're like, okay, we got this guy Corey Burton to basically do an impersonation of you, Christopher Lee. So these are your lines. As they showed him some test scenes, and then Christopher Lee kind of turned to them and was like, do you need me? It sounds like this guy can do a really good impersonation of me.
Yeah, and then Corey Burton took over for Christopher Lee after his passing.
Because that would be very expensive if they kept Christopher Lee for the entire cartoon.
Well, even in Kingdom Hearts, it's just whenever they were.
Yeah, he does his little Christopher Lee impersonation as well. He's so good. Yeah. Corey Burton's just a good actor. Yeah, Shockwave is great. I especially love Shockwave in Prime, but I specifically it's Fall of Cybertron. I love Shockwave, and I love that little detail that how they changed up the continuity. That Shockwave is the one that created the Dinobots. It makes it so much more oh geez, he experimented on them, and their mind has been messed with, but it's just the whole game, just the whole time Coolman and I were playing it. We the whole game because they kept talking about Grimlock, and we're like, when are we? Because of all the marketing, because we watched all the marketing trailers before we actually sat down and played it, and we're like, they heavily market Grimlock. They make a big deal about the fact that you're going to play as Grimlock. So, and they just keep building and building and building. We're like, when are we going to play Grimlock? When are we going to play Grimlock? They're like, this game is amazing. This game is awesome. But when am I going to play Grimlock? And then finally, when you finally get to his chapters, and oh my gosh, it was so peak. I loved it. It was great.
Grimlock is very good. I love
Grimlock. Oh, man. He's a dinosaur. He's a dinosaur robot.
Everybody loves Grimlock.
Transformers is the perfect boys media because it captures all the personalities of a boy. Space, aliens, cars and planes and stuff, and dinosaurs and insects.
And all robots.
All it needed was cowboys. Oh wait, it had Ironhide.
Yeah.
It just had every single one of Boy's personality. And it even crossed over G.I. Joe. It literally had all the personality traits of a little boy.
Yep.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah, Ultra Magnus is great, too. I especially loved him in Prime. Julie, you haven't met him yet, but he's great in Prime.
Oh, especially his voice actor?
Yes. When you and I were watching it, and you're like, why does it sound familiar? And I'm like, that's Darkseid! That's Darkseid from
Michael Ironside! and Scar!
Yeah.
And Sam Fisher.
What a good cast, too. Oh, man. All of them are... oh, yes. Speaking of Ratchet, because going back to Prime Ratchet, Jeffrey Combs is so good. Yes. I don't think there's been a single voice acting role he's been in that's been bad, because he's always good.
Oh, yeah.
He plays Ratchet really good in that show.
It's funny, because Coolman and I also rewatched The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest. And as we were watching it, we were like, why does Race Bannon sound so familiar to us? Because, granted, they switch out voice actors from season 1 to season 2. But, as we're watching it, we're like, this guy in particular sounds really familiar to us. And then I looked up the actor, and I'm like, Tim, that's Ratchet from the Bay 4 movies. And you're like, oh my gosh, that is Ratchet. Because he's just like, I love Ratchet. Ratchet's one of my faves. That's why it's Age of Extinction for obvious reasons. For those who know.
If you know, you know.
Oh yeah, Constructicons. I get it. Soundway superior. Agreed.
Yeah.
Oh man, those boss fights were crazy in Devastation.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it's Michael Ironside, and specifically in Prime, not in G1.
I can't remember who voiced, because like the '86 movie had the all-star cast, and then they go into just regular voice actors for season 3. I don't know who voiced him there.
Ratchet was originally supposed to be a female Autobot because his name was based on a Nurse Ratchet. Huh.
I did hear that he was supposed to be a female, but they changed him to male because it was like, I guess because of the targeted toward boys demographic.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Mostly boys do watch Transformers. It's just factually true. Yes, there are 3 female fans right now.
Yeah.
But like that's not a common thing. We also, the 3 of us tend to also gear towards a lot of male properties anyway, because we like action stuff and we like adventure stuff. It's just who we be. Hashtag not like other girls.
I mean, they did get a female following. Like they did have Alita in G1.
Yeah, which they're great. I do like them, and RC and all them. I do like the touch though of I wish there was more of her, but like because Red Alert is actually a male Autobot in Armada, but then Red Alert appears in animated, but she's specifically, and it's that repurposed concept. She is a female Autobot nurse. And I'm like, I want more of that version of Red Alert because I like her design. I think it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can ship her with Ratchet. I have a crack ship, guys.
we do a lot of crack shipping over here.
Magnus is Robert Stack in the movie, Jack Angel in the show. Oh, okay. Yes, the Devastation OST is metal AF. Literally, it's a good. But Platinum has a lot of good soundtracks for their games. Back when they made amazing games and weren't trying to jump into the mobile scene, but hopefully they get their act together. But that's neither here nor there. War for Cybertron and Fall for Cybertron also has really great music too. I'm just like, dang, this stuff is peak.
Yeah.
And of course, the music's also really good for even the Bayformer movies, like frick, it wasn't Hans Zimmer. I don't think it was. Who did the music? No, it was Robert something, I believe. I could never say his last name. It starts with a J, I believe. I could be misremembering. Go ahead and look it up.
Which one?
Bayformers soundtrack composer. Oh, there we go. It's chat. Jablinski.
Jablinski.
Steve Jablinski.
I always look at that name and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to say that right on my first try. Yeah, though, Transformers just has good music, like in general. I think animated also has a really good remix of the original 80s cartoon intro. Fantastic.
Oh, I love that intro so much.
And the rock opera version from the 86 movie is also pretty sweet. And then there's also what's his face who did The Touch and Dare. That stuff's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah.
And then he did an alternative, like more modern version later on, like in the aughts.
Sandbush. I was like,
yes. And that one actually appeared in the credits of, was it Fall of Cybertron, right? Cool, man?
Yes. Yeah, because I remember it wasn't used for the movies.
Yeah, it wasn't used for the Bayformers movies, but they repurposed it and they used it for I think it was Fall for Cybertron. And when we heard it, we were like, "Hey!" And we started getting into it. It's just really good. It's just really good. The music's really good. This guy's idiot. This guy's stupid. This guy's just wrong. But at least the internet came together and we're like, no, we're going to bully IGN in particular today. I mean, we usually do, but like this especially is egregious.
Yeah.
It's like we're already struggling to get attention at the box office. We don't need IGN like kicking around thinking they can muddy up the place. Like, actually, this movie's mediocre. Actually, no, it's not. You're just wrong.
This is a cinematic masterpiece.
Well, I watched it so many times. I love this movie. Yeah. Rock and roll.
Agreed.
But thanks, guys, for coming. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, we had a surprising amount of people here, considering I forgot to notify people before today.
That was somebody's ringtone, Sam the Man. We are. Julie is a very important person.
Yeah. Always on those business calls.
Yeah, she's a very busy lady. We appreciate her showing up, taking time out of her day because she didn't get today off from work, unfortunately. So everybody in the chat, clap for Julie.
So sad.
We love you, Julie.
We appreciate Julie. All right, so chat, thank you very much. Obviously, like the video. There are 14 of you, and I only see 8 likes right now. So bump up those numbers. Those are Ricky numbers.
Yeah, bump those up.
And well, thank you, and bye bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Have a nice day or evening.